Oh, man. Too many cocktails on the table, not enough... Oh, yeah, I was going to say, those Ace ciders they're not very gassy lassie. They're pretty standard. So...
Let me get a beer.
Oh, boy, Miller High Life. After the smorgasbord of shit that Chris brought...
Whoa,
what
was that?
What was that? Was that loud?
Chief.
That's the champagne.
Careful? Was that loud?
Oh, yeah.
That was
that was loud, man.
Yeah, I got the...
That's the Irish cream.
The Irish cream. The Irish cream is pretty... And then, of course, the apple cherry cordial or whatever.
Holiday moonshine.
I can't put anything on the table without it falling out.
And I got extra sediment in the bottom of this one, too, which is my favorite. Yeah. That's
Sediment's good.
The sediment is good. I like a good chewy liqueur.
The pulp.
The pulp. That's it. I'm a bit of a pulp licker myself. And to my immediate left is...
Chris Smith.
And so you brought...
So we brought the homemade Irish cream.
Okay, yeah.
We made the homemade cranberry moonshine, or holiday moonshine with cranberry and apple cider and other little pieces of goodness.
Yeah.
And then we brought some Christian Brothers holiday spiced eggnog. That's gonna be that's some happy juice too.
I'm gonna save that for dessert.
I was gonna say it's almost like you enjoy it being winter. Right.
And I did not bring the sicer.
Oh, you didn't bring the sicer?
Because I got a whole half gallon of that, and I thought, geez, maybe I'm.
Well, we got to work our way through
much.
the winter.
Yeah.
You got to take it easy.
So we got plenty of that left over.
We don't want to turn this into just a fucking drinking podcast.
We've been down that road before.
Oh my God! It's not that we're slurring; we're just talking in cursive, and it's classy. To your left,
Dan Kroenke.
What'd you bring, Dan?
Crawler of the Fatheads Alt Beer and a 6-pack of the Goggle Fogger.
Again, one of my favorite names of a beer ever.
Goggle Fogger.
Goggle Fogger. If you don't laugh when you say that...
I feel like after a few Goggle Foggers, it would be really hard to say the name.
After a few Goggle Foggers, would it be hard to fly your Fokker?
Goggle Fogger sounds like something from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's true. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that would be...
Like Gargle Blaster.
The Gargle Blaster? Right, exactly.
Gargle with... Gargle.
You
after you have a Goggle Fogger, can you rock your Fokker? I don't know.
I'm going to gargle with Goggle Fogger.
I guarantee you won't be able to do that in an hour.
I'm kind of sad that it's not a
lager. You won't drink whiskey.
It's not a lager. The Goggle Fogger lager.
I hate that we said that at the same time.
I'm a Goggle Fogger.
Goggle Fogger lager. Oh, instead, it's a Hefeweizen, which is the exact furthest it could be from being a Goggle Fogger lager. John?
No, to his
left. Oh, fuck yeah, we get out of sequence. It's all screwed up.
Johnny Mac,
we got 9 years of doing this. You think that we'd fucking get it?
Just to my left.
Get it to the road. Exactly.
Still working on it.
And what'd you bring?
Somewhat skunky Great Lakes Dortmunder Gold lager.
And you also brought some skunky Taco Bell.
And definitely some skunky.
Tons of
fresh
fucking
Taco Bell.
That was fresh, and I do love the mini chicken quesadillas.
Coquito Taco Bell.
Yeah, but then the Baja Blast.
Yeah.
Pro tip: Baja Blast is grapefruit. So you know what goes good with grapefruit? Tequila. So you take out some Baja Blast. You take out some Baja Blast and you put in tequila. Now, here's the trick about Baja Blast. It's got a lot of caffeine in it.
Why are you looking at me when you're talking about this?
Because I can't break eye contact with the camera. I just can't stop staring at you. Hold on. Dun, dun, dun. But seriously, this stuff, when you mix the tequila with the caffeine in the Baja Blast, it's like you didn't drive 15 hours today. It's amazing.
I miss caffeine.
And to his left?
Evidently, I'm the cranky old sewer guy. But you know what? I want to give a shout out to Rand.
Fucking shout out
I
to
love
Rand.
that dude.
Rand rules.
Rand rules.
I mean, Phil read the whole text, and you're my fucking hero.
Yeah. I got good news for you, Steve. There's more from Rand.
There's more.
I like that guy. Call in now.
Yeah, let's call in now. I'm dead serious.
Although
tomorrow when this drops, it's gonna be like
3 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow.
Let's call him right now and just talk to him
this minute.
Put him on the speaker.
Call him this minute.
Yeah.
I would, except for we have to do a podcast.
Yeah, it's part of the podcast.
And to Steve's left,
Cam Vanderhorst.
And Cam, what'd you bring tonight?
I'm drinking Nick's Perry Craft Cider.
Whoa. Say that again.
Nick's Ace
Oh.
Harry Craft Cider.
I thought he said Harry Crack Cider, and I was like, I know.
That's another Hitchhiker's
I know he's
Galaxy name.
Nick is in a whole new world on that.
Is that like the Dickens cider?
The Dickens cider, yeah, exactly. Harry Crack Cider. He's a pilot of one of the lesser known ships. The
Dickens cider. The Dickens Brewing Company.
Dickens Brewing Company. He's got amazing Dickens
You
cider.
get hot Dickens cider.
Yeah, exactly.
Spicy Dickens cider.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Just one.
Hard Dickens cider.
Hard Dickens cider. Yeah, I prefer the hard Dickens cider. Yeah, I like a good hard cider. Especially when it's a Dickens. That's it. And 2 cams left.
I am also enjoying this pear cider stuff, and in a second I'll have this Trogs Mad Elf that I just opened for dramatic effect.
The Trogs Mad Elf is delicious.
I don't think you guys should grow some hair on your
didn't give
balls
your
and
name.
drink some whiskey.
Oh, I just told you guys what I'm drinking. I'm
Yeah.
Nick DeVito.
My name is Harry Cider.
Calm down, grumpy sewer guy.
And all,
Hold on.
and all this excitement. Are we not recording?
Hey. Oh, man. Fuck, hold on.
The good news is we have it on the Boy Scout.
Yeah, it's recording, but I don't... Fuck, I think the read thing didn't reinitialize the board. Fuck this computer,
well,
man.
Well,
Hold on. Let me...
And to his left.
it's okay though because we've got it in the Boy Scout.
Stand by.
Starting low res and
Yeah, we'll start in low res and we'll
move
shift
it
into
up.
high res as we go along.
All right, let's take down all these microphones.
No, let's just talk about how shitty Windows is.
It's
Windows
okay.
can suck a dick.
Well, he's going to keep doing that.
Linux,
We're going
bro.
to keep talking
go to
because
Linux.
all we got to do is mix the two together at like the 6 minute and 53 mark or whenever he gets it
Yeah,
running.
I'll fucking-
So we'll just do it and we'll just put the two together.
An hour and 43 minutes.
Well,
Okay, man.
we'll punch up the
We
audio
definitely don't
on
blame
the
you, man.
No, I'm...
on
We're
the
letting
task
it
cam
down. All right.
All right.
because we only recorded on that for 7 years. So
Yeah.
and we managed to make it this far.
I think
We're
I think
number
with,
one.
with as many wires and everything that are
Yeah.
that are running everywhere, and as much stuff is going on right now. I think you're actually not to blame if anything fails.
No, I blame the stupid
Statistically-
Windows update.
Yeah, statistically, you're one of like 18
No,
pieces of the
thank you.
puzzle.
No, I'm
So
still
I think,
3
the
drinks
chances of
ahead.
it being directly
Yeah.
your fault are very low.
It's only
Blaming
5%.
it on Windows.
Blame it on the rain.
And to his
Yeah.
left.
And let Sleepy do. You know what the
Yeah,
funny
I'm
thing is?
sorry.
The man beat a bad hip, and he's done nothing but lose weight, become more interesting, and trot his ass out here like a
And has
fucking
truly tremendous hair that
truly
I never knew
fantastic. And
He's got his hair down.
finally took his hat off.
Yeah.
How do you get your beard to get straight? Mine's
His
all
beard's so
curly.
straight. Yeah, I just cut all mine off, but yeah, the
Give me a minute.
take your time. Take your time.
straight
We're
girl.
See,
recording.
in the boy band that is the Cleveland Moto Podcast,
Yes,
I always thought he was the bad boy, and I didn't realize that he's actually the cute one.
he's a cute. Yeah, he is. He's the cute.
Do you have a
Nobody saw that
rubber-
coming.
Do you have a rubber wedding ring?
I do.
Yeah,
I got sick of smashing my hand with the
Yeah.
little ring and stuff, and so
Yeah,
now
that's
it's
pretty smart.
Yeah, they're
lot of
$4
people I know that,
for like a
done
pack
so.
of 7 of them.
you can have your real wedding ring, but when you're
How much
working
do you
on your
value
shit-
our love? $4
I've
for a
never
pack of
taken
7
this
of them.
thing off.
Best
Yeah.
best thing of the
I can tell.
operation.
28 years, I've never had this thing off.
Yeah, I can tell. Your one finger's just purpler than the
Yeah.
other one.
I know.
That's
it won't
it.
come off. That's why I can't
That's
take
exactly
it.
it.
So they make a list of all the shit that you're taking off before your surgery, and
Right.
I got mine back, and it was like 1 rubber ring.
One rubber.
You know, if I went into surgery, I would not take my wedding ring off because I want to die with it.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
That's really sweet.
I welded myself
That's
to 2
sweet.
of
I
them.
like my wife.
I used to like my wife
yeah,
too.
that's sweet that you like your wife.
It's not sweet.
You're all grumpy. Stop. That's not sweet.
I defy
so
you to be
cute.
less grumpy. the
No, the last thing, I went to surgery one time, and the guy said count back from like 10 to whatever they say.
well, it would probably go to less than 10.
So, yeah.
He wouldn't have you count back from 10 to
Count back
20.
from 10 to 100.
Do you have you do negative?
That's a very
whatever he
linear
said. I don't
equation.
know whatever he said. So I said BMW 2002.
Oh boy.
And that's the, you know what though? If you're going to go under,
2002. I didn't want to be like, he died. His last words were 10, 9, 8.
and then lost forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, BMW 2000.
On a scale of
is way
5 to
better.
7,
Yeah.
how high
Well, you know
were
they
you?
call that chassis the E10, so you weren't wrong.
What do you call it? 320.
It's an E21.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are
Okay.
so
Finally,
fucking nerds.
That was
Oh
my life for 3
God.
years.
Well, what do you call a Bavaria?
Fucking
E3.
You guys argue
an
about
E3.
rondelles, don't you?
No.
I have an
don't
E3,
give a shit anymore.
So I have an E3 and an E21.
You know, it's not really propeller, man. It's really the Bavarian flag.
I'm really glad that I can just dabble.
So are we running on your unit?
He's working on it.
Yeah.
We're running on your unit.
We're running on the old unit right now. We're running on the original R2
Wait.
unit. Well, it's actually the secondary R2 unit because our first R2 unit was Dustin's Zune. So we used to record on Dustin's Zune, and the Tascam was bought just to do remote shoot, like
You can
remote shots.
you could record on a Zune.
Yeah, I think
I
it was
knew
a
one
Zune.
person that
Yeah.
had a Zune, and they
Yeah.
were real proud.
It was like
of
a
so I
Zune
got to play
HP
with
or
it.
something.
No, you know what? We're going back. I'm going to bring the other shit back. So this is
Looks like a
pissing me
Rune
off,
or
dude.
a
I'm
SP
fucking-
or
I hope
Zune
Dustin's
or
doing okay. Is
Coon.
he okay?
He's doing great.
Yeah, he's doing great.
I've seen him on Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen
he's,
posts from him. He looks
he's
happy.
working as a lineman or something and doing
Yeah.
stuff like
Well, he's
that.
out.
He's got like a real adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
like a
good.
real. He's got like a real
Thank
adult
God.
job. He's no longer like pulling parts for KTM.
He's no longer putting rocks in boxes.
Rocks in boxes.
shot down and saying, this is your crankcase.
Here's a sticker that proves that your parts came from Austria. Right. Never mind the Amherst on the box. Yeah. Why does this box smell like Amherst, Ohio? Not Austria. Doesn't come with any strudel. Nothing.
No strudel.
No strudel. It's not from Austria. It comes from Amherst's famous export, Jamie's Flea Market.
Well, you know, Amherst does have Kudrowski's, and it's the home of the Snoogle.
The Snoodle?
The Snoogle.
Snoogle.
I know the snoogle.
You know the Snoogle?
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a
It's a
snoogle?
twisted flake pastry filled with sweetened cream cheese,
Okay, wait a second. So that's a strudel?
covered in sugar glaze.
And so how do they get to the what do we, I need to know more about the snoogle. How do we
It's
get
a
there?
pastry.
They're like this long.
Okay.
He's holding his hands up about.
Wait, there's a
3 foot long.
cam now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
About the
We're
size
just
of
listening
a,
to the podcast.
about the size
So
of
for
a
those
fish that
listening,
you would
it's
see on
about
the
2
wall of a
feet long.
barbershop.
Keeps getting
It's like
bigger.
a twisted. It's like a twisted flake pastry,
Right.
filled with sugared cream cheese,
Okay. So is it a
and then
It's
it's,
not a
covered in
kugel,
like a
and it's
sugar
not-
glaze. Like so, it's like a glazed donut.
the only part that's driving me crazy is how they came up with the word itself.
It's
Snoogle.
It's Snoogle TM.
Oh wow.
It's trademark.
Fucking trademark that shit.
It is trademark.
They were talking to Rand one night at 4 a.m.
At 0400. in
I
the
wish he
morning.
had my phone number because I would respond to him.
I did respond to him eventually when I woke up.
Yeah, but see,
But he did all this
I'm
deliciousness when I was
up at that
sleeping.
time.
Yeah, he recorded all that stuff. He recorded all that beauty he sent out of his thumb-powered device while I happened to be asleep. So yeah, it's
I feel his pain. I mean, I really do. I feel his pain.
I don't think
Except
that,
when you have a snoogle in front of you.
yeah.
No, and then I just feel the Snoogle.
I have done my share of drunk texting. Like, I mean, yeah, I've texted people drunk. I think I've texted Renee drunk. I've done,
Renee's nodding her head affirmatively.
yeah, I've sent Renee pictures when I was fucking loaded, like absolutely loaded,
She showed me
guaranteed
a bunch of
loaded.
those. It was
There you go, exactly. Right. Does this look
Renee said that
infected?
Renee looks radiant tonight.
Does Renee look radiant?
She looks radiant.
She looks radiant.
She looks radiant.
Deadlifts.
Deadlifts. It's the squats. The squats make you radiate. Yeah. You can radiate more after you've squatted. I usually radiate a lot more after I've squatted.
her blood's actually pumping through her system as
It is.
opposed to just like coagulating.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, mine's just mixing with alcohol and like killing me.
My blood gets to the muscle group I'm working and stops. So I just experience extreme swelling until I get lightheaded and fall down.
Whoa, this is going to be too much work. We're stopping
Deep
right here.
pain thrombosis. Yeah. And it doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't.
So did you guys hear that the Swedes put UPC barcodes on their naval vessels? That's so they could Scandinavian.
Hey, that's pretty good. I like
Better than in most of the jokes you say.
that. Is a really good dad joke.
So we're here in podcast purgatory.
I got a million of them.
This is the number one motorcycle podcast.
Yeah, we're going down this line now.
I love that. After a major award,
I'm looking at porn at this point. I'm like,
Can the camera see it?
I like. Oh yeah, the camera's recording, but
I was
it's
just saying, can it see him looking up?
Oh, the
Just
board.
a black screen
yeah,
with
yeah.
like green text going on.
Hey, do you know what's
It looks like the
interesting?
Matrix.
Have some more of that.
I wonder if the audio
Please,
is running on the
sir.
camera right now.
Yeah, yeah, more.
Oh, it is.
It actually sounds pretty good.
Coming in one line at a time.
So I was at a training yesterday,
Yeah.
and this guy gets up there and he's from Canby, and it's
So
an
you're at your
English company.
wastewater treatment the other day.
Yeah, no, but he's from Canby, and he's from England.
Yeah.
And he sounds exactly like Austin Powell.
Oh, really?
So the guy next to me, and he keeps
So
saying,
behave.
this guy says, no, the guy keeps saying poo.
Okay.
And then, so the guy next to me is like, Basil, this coffee tastes like poop. They're like, shit. It's like,
It's a bit nutty.
yeah, and so that went
Yes.
on the whole time, like for like the next 30 minutes. That's all he's.
That's what it is. The update fucked it. So now I'm going to have it back in a minute.
All right, that's fine. It's okay. No rush. Captain
Well, I got to
Wise.
get out of here.
Steve's
Call
leaving.
Rand. Well,
Chris is
we're waiting.
leaving.
Can we call
Chris is
Rand?
leaving. Oh my God.
Can we call
He's had
Randall
enough of
early?
this.
Call Rand.
That's a lack
I'll
of
call him.
continuity.
What's his number?
Well, we're going to call him until we're running. We're going to call him while we're coming in weak. We're going
I
to
don't
call him
know
when
if
we're
we're
coming in
running or
hot.
not running.
We
One
gotta
thing's
wake him
running,
up
one
off the
thing's
floor,
not.
don't you?
Wait, are we
First thing we gotta do-
Is this just like
First thing we got
It's
to
recording on things.
Right,
and I will make
we're
it
recording.
work.
First things we got to do though is we got to read the rest of goddamn Rand's text message, and I'm not going to do that without Chris Smith in the room.
We all got to do a shot of stroll before we call him.
Oh my sweet Jesus! That's actually a really good idea. Daniel, you may regret that.
Well, I'm gonna stick with.
You're going to stick with a tin cup because you know what? Because that's America's whiskey.
But this isn't really tin. This is like. This looks like stainless steel.
It looks like
does look
stainless.
like stainless.
I would not.
I have
I
a-
would say the tin content's pretty low.
304.
I have a question for the whiskey experts here.
Don't look at me.
The old decanters that you would get, the glass decanters,
Yeah.
the fancy ones. About how long does the whiskey keep in those?
Should be
If the
forever.
bottle's unopened, forever.
Because I have a 1984 Corvette Jim Beam decanter that a really good friend gave me.
Yeah.
He said
They're forever.
it's worth more money
Yeah.
with the whiskey in it, but it's a lot more fun with the whiskey out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking
It's 1984.
it's an 84.
It's an 84.
I'm sure that's
There's a
garbage
1986
whiskey.
pace car one that's the same color as the
Right.
one I'm getting, so I
Yeah.
have to get that one too.
They did so many decanters in the
They did one
70s
of
and
like
80s.
every year of the
Yeah.
Corvette. There's
Yeah.
like a 70 Cuda one, but yeah, it's a Beam decanter. So
Yep.
Well, it just depends because sometimes it spoils and sometimes it doesn't. So
Yeah.
people pay a lot of money for an unopened bottle.
Take the chance.
I mean,
Don't
just
open
like
it.
the beer. I mean, I
Yeah.
imagine it's just like the beer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like sometimes
Really,
it's
if
good.
it's not open, the whiskey should be good.
It was a gift.
99%
If
of
it's
the time.
it was a gift from somebody,
Yeah.
so it's not like I'd ever sell it
it's
anyways.
whiskey. Even if it was open, how's it going to go bad? It's like 80% alcohol.
Depends on the whiskey.
But it evaporates,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
I have a friend who had a decanter that was his father's.
Right.
Unopened
Yeah.
cannon bottle of like 1975 Jim Beam 100 proof, which they didn't even make again until a few years ago. And this was
Right.
like 10 years ago I tried this. He's showing me this at his house, and I'm like, he's like, I'm going to open it. I'm like, dude, don't open it, don't open it. That's worth like
Don't open it until you sell it.
$1,000 or
Right,
something. And he's
yeah.
like, fuck it, we're drinking this.
Yeah, the
Just
Corvette,
opens it.
the Corvette ones aren't worth like a ton of money because there's
Yeah.
so many of
There's a
them.
lot of them. Yeah.
fantastic.
But yeah, I have a red 84. I got like a really boomerific clock
Yeah.
thing to put in the bar. You guys haven't been over to the house yet.
No,
I really want to do
no.
a bar cast at the house.
That's. I'm thinking that's a very good idea now, especially now that you have your C4.
Yeah, well, it's not home yet. It's still in West Virginia.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I'm picking it up in a couple weeks. Things are kind of like up in the air with my grandpa and stuff. Like
Okay.
when I'm going to have to go down to
Yeah.
New Orleans to see him. So
Yeah. Well, don't let salt get on it.
You'd like this one. So in New York,
Yeah.
this there's this in the town that I have my house in,
Yeah. Yeah.
or my camp. There's this place called
Speculator.
Zeisers.
Zeisers?
Zeisers.
In Speculator?
Speculator. Yeah. But so this lady, his husband died 30 years ago,
Right.
and then she was running this hotel restaurant bar thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you ordered dinner at her restaurant,
Yeah.
she would walk across the street and buy the ingredients and make you your food.
What?
Okay, so that's the way it worked. If you bought a
We
beer,
had a guy like that. We called him
you ordered
Royale.
a beer, she would walk across the street to the general store, buy the beer, and bring it back and give you the beer. So, anyway,
Keeps your costs low.
I guess it does.
no, there was this
Yeah,
long
couldn't carry any
hallway.
inventory.
There was there's this long hallway.
So they upcharge you 100%.
In this hotel, I mean, it's an old Adirondack hotel.
Yeah.
With a glass case. It was from here like to that back wall.
Yeah.
And it had a glass case, 3 shelves.
Yeah.
Her husband was a merchant marine.
Okay.
Brought liquor from around the entire world in from like the 30s through like the 80s.
Really?
Until he died. The whole cabinet was filled with full bottles of liquor from the 30s to whenever.
Wow.
You know,
And he didn't drink it.
he didn't drink it, but they just,
looked at it.
He would bring like 10 bottles back, put it in these like this glass enclosure with like 3 shelves, so it was 3 deep, all the way to the wall. There were like what was that, 500 bottles of whiskey from around this country,
right,
from around the world that were 50 to 80 years old.
That's
was
just ridiculous.
Amazing.
I mean, that is just ridiculous.
The moral of the story is drink your liquor.
Drink your fucking liquor, people.
Because I told Kit.
Empty bottles and full bottles.
For sale, and
they
I
look
said,
the same.
Kit, that liquor's probably worth more than the building.
It could be.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
people pay stupid money for old
liquor.
liquor.
Appraiser?
Yeah. But I'm saying
liquor aficionado.
The stuff was so old. I was looking at it. It's amazing. It's like things you've never ever seen in your.
But it
entire
turns into
life.
Spinal Tap. The guy's holding up the guitar, and they're like, "Have you played it?" No, I wouldn't play it. No,
Don't even look at
don't
it.
You even hear it? Don't you hear it just ringing, just sitting there, just
Do you
singing?
sustain on it?
Yeah, hear the
well, you could if it was
sustain.
plugged in.
I owned my
yeah.
Colt Woodsman for 8 years.
Exactly. Never had a shot.
Because it was brand new in the box.
Never had a
and I'm
round
like,
put
and then one day I'm like, you know what?
But we know it did have rounds put through it because they always shot a test
Because
pattern.
it comes with a test. I had the
Yeah, it comes with a test group.
So it got shot 5 times.
I have a 1911 like that.
Yeah.
Like I usually,
Shoot.
whenever I get a gun,
Yeah,
I would get it transferred at a store and then use their range.
yeah, of course.
And this didn't happen. I got it from like a local FFL, and like I haven't shot it. It's been like a year, and now I'm like,
Shoot the fucking
I'm
thing. It's a gun.
I know, but like
Yeah.
when I don't know, you hold on to it long enough.
I
They
would- the
discontinue
worst-
it. I'm
Well,
like,
yeah,
Just
it's like
think
your
of my
dick.
life.
You're gonna hold on to it for long enough.
Now, dude, you know how many series of
You're not gonna
1980
use it?
1911s they made? They made so many
seriously.
series of 1911s that Colt is now the smallest producer of 1911s.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
Kimbers make a really good type.
yeah, I mean,
That's what I have.
You have a Kimber, right?
I mean, I love Kimbers.
Oh.
I mean, I don't
people
care.
are like real love and hate.
We're moving out of
Timbers.
purgatory.
I know that's exactly it. Turns into a gun cast. We get a lot of comments when we turn into a gun cast.
All right, let's.
I'm sorry.
How about them motorcycles?
So, I'm
sorry,
thinking with
I said
the
Kimber.
triple FG powder, you got to push at least 1,100 and maybe 138 grains at least 1,100 feet per second.
We need to
That
bring
45
Dustin back to
shoots
run
the
the
tightest
board.
screw. I mean, that Kimber 45 is the tightest screw I can get. I mean,
It may
seriously.
be bad, but he's got a long reach.
This is true. Hey, what I
Hey,
did
you
want.
ready yet, Sleepy? Come on.
Well, he's cooking with that. No, what we're going to do is we're going to
Steve's
start the
getting crabby.
podcast over again. But here's, oh god damn it,
Crabby old sewer guy.
hey, Steve, go ahead. What you
No,
got?
so it is going into the system, but now I've lost the ability to control the level. Ever since this update, it fucked everything. This whole thing. So
Reboot.
What about doing a system restore to an earlier date? Would it also
No,
restore?
reboot.
Check to make sure it's plugged in.
But you can also do this if you want. I do have a pretty quick solution right here, which would be to use in my computer. I've got a program that records, and it's pretty fucking stupid. It's just this wave pad.
hold on, it'll work. It's
Okay,
going to
all
work.
right.
It's
But you see, what we're doing right now, what nobody's aware of, is we're actually creating bonus material for our hotline party member patrons. So what we could do is we could just take this file, upload it secretly to only our patrons.
That's it. There you go.
So they get
Thanks for giving us money. You're only getting this because we fucked up.
exactly.
Thanks for giving us money. Here's some garbage.
It's like Scrapple. Yeah, it's like Geta or Scrapple. You know, some people consider that shit a delicacy.
Don't be you talking down to Scrapple here, pal?
I'm talking about Scrapple.
It's like
Scrapple's better than the podcast itself.
It's like when a musician dies and
Yes.
like they're like kids run out of money and they're like, we'll go into the vault and release some
That's
unreleased.
exactly
If
right.
those tracks didn't come out during their lifetime, we're probably not talking.
Oh, Prince's estate is going to make way more money than Prince did.
Yeah.
Because everything he ever was like, all right, just let's do a tuning track, and now that's a song.
I saw a meme where it was like, oh, Prince's vault revealed to be 200 plus hours of Billy Joel covers or something.
Yes! That would be amazing.
Can I ask you a question, though?
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
So on
Don't let this stop
the
you.
text today, they said you sent that thing about who sent that thing about
What?
about podcast like
That we're the #1 podcast in America?
is that what it?
According to some website.
I've never
The
heard
number
of this
one
website.
motorcycle podcast.
Thank you.
that's
Thank you for
So how do
clarifying.
we beat out somebody who does so much
That
work
drinks
like
too much.
lies?
We were listed as the #1 motorcycle podcast that drinks too much in a format between 1 and 3 hours, originating from the Midwest, from men who mostly have beards. And according to that, we were #1.
All right, I can see it.
Look at how much work
that's more
Liza
believable.
puts into her podcast.
What's that?
She comes in what, 7th?
No,
No,
I'm
I
just
don't
saying,
know.
like Liza puts a ton of work.
Oh, we're not going to punk on them.
We're not going to put
No, I'm not punking
The fact
at all.
that
I'm
one
saying that
silly,
they're
ridiculous.
they have a very high quality podcast.
Oh.
So why were we at the top?
Well, we had a
Well, also
high-quality
you have to remember that the list of this list of the best podcasts in America was compiled by Steve Sleepy Cinch.
Seriously, was
No, it was I was. So just to bring you up to speed, yesterday to pick up a car, I left my house at 1 o'clock in the morning, day before yesterday, and I drove to Maryland. Got there at 8 a.m. Picked up a car, drove back. Then I went to sleep for 5 hours. Woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning again, drove to Maryland again, and then just recently, like a couple of hours ago, arrived back. So I've been driving for about 28 to 30 hours.
It shows.
Yeah, in the past 2 days. So when I got back to Cleveland, it was in the past 40 hours, I've been driving for 29 of them.
Well, you must have been cooped up. Now you need to talk to people.
I'm loving it.
You're ready.
Oh yeah, I was shouting on my radio. I listened to 29 hours of podcasts.
Is that why you weren't breaking eye contact with me?
That's exactly
I
it.
thought you were
A
just
little
fucking
weird.
with me over the cat. You kept saying Mountain Dew and caffeine over and over again while making eye contact with me.
Yeah. I seriously, I have no two days in the car, just running the same road, and of course the first night it was like just flying low, like nothing, just hauling ass like as fast as the van would go, getting out there. But then coming back both times, you got to keep your foot off the gas, or you're going to get like 10 miles per gallon.
I saw the van was all salty.
I think,
Brand new van.
Yeah, brand new van
From down south.
Well, brand new 10-year-old van. So, but yeah, it got salty for the first time.
I think
I didn't get a chance to fluid film it. It got too cold out,
Oh, no.
and so I had to run it on Naturel. So then, but I did take it down to the speedy wash and put it through twice with the.
So I think if I know my 70s B movies,
Yeah.
like I think I do,
Yeah.
what you really need to help you out with these long trips in the truck
Yeah.
is some quasi-legal wild animal in the passenger
Oh
seat.
yeah, right. We're gonna have a gorilla,
bear or a gorilla,
a bear,
some kind of
a gorilla,
monkey.
right? Yeah, a monkey.
A cougar.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Oh, I know there's BJ and the bear.
Yeah.
Grizzly Adams, of course.
There's a
had-
lot.
Oh, I'm thinking
There's
of a
like
different
really
movie.
weird.
Oh, you're right.
What's the Clint Eastwood one?
Okay, that's an orangutan. That's every which way but loose.
You know what I'm talking
That's
about?
right.
There's like
Yeah.
a million movies from the 70s that all have a trucker
Yeah.
and like a monkey.
Sidekick.
Well, that was
Trucker and a monkey.
What the fuck? Like,
That
how did that get made once?
every which way
What's that
but
one with
loose,
Sylvester
and every which
Stallone
way
with
you
that
can.
arm wrestling.
Like
Over
that,
the top?
Yeah.
That was Sylvester Stallone. I don't think he had an animal.
No, he had a kid.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
the kid.
Who was
Kind of an animal.
Who was the other guy in that one though? Who was in Over the Top? There was another big name.
Sylvester
in it.
Stallone?
And somebody.
I don't know.
I remember the dude at the end in the arm wrestling competition, the bald dude.
Yeah.
That he used variants of the word shit for every swear. Like he only knew one swear word. He was like, "You got to be out of your shitting mind."
Really?
Like he said something. Like nobody remembers that.
Oh.
The only reason I've seen Over the Top is because I had an ex-girlfriend that had never seen Demolition Man, and I really wanted to show it to her. So I went to. It's a great movie.
Really?
So I went to.
What are the 3 shells for?
I have 3 shelves in my bathroom right now, as a matter of fact.
And I wanted to show her Demolition Man, and I went to FYE, and they had Demolition Man for $15, or you could get a 2-pack of Demolition Man and Over the Top for $10. And I wanted to know how shitty Over the Top was that it made Demolition Man worth.
How did it push it up?
$5 less.
$5 less. That's awful. Oh my!
And it turns out it's really
if you take Over the
shitty.
Top, we'll take $5 off of Demolition Man, right?
It's like when you go to a guy's house and he's like trying to get rid of his 2 parts cars or like his 2 parts bikes, and it's like, well, I only want the CB350 on the left. How much is that? It's $800. Okay. So you said it was $800 for the 2. How much if I just take that one? Oh, it's $800.
Right. How much do I just take that one? $1,200. Because I've told people that many times. You must leave here with 2 motorcycles. If you try to leave here with 1 motorcycle, there's a $400 upcharge. Yeah, fuck that. If I need to get rid of some shit, I need to get rid of some shit. That's it.
I didn't realize how profitable parting out Corvettes was. I've been helping my buddy part out one of his C3s, and if I would have started parting out Corvettes when I was like 18.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I'd be on like a golf course somewhere in like a
You'd be driving your boat that looks like a Corvette.
Yeah. Yeah, I would start.
That was awesome, by the way.
You got that?
That Corvette boat?
Yeah. Oh, no, that Stingray boat? That thing was fucking seriously good. That was beauty. That was beautiful, eh?
Did you know that?
Are we rolling now?
Yeah, we've been
All
going.
right, cool.
It's going.
What is that about?
So,
Why do I hear that like 10 times this week?
In case we don't blend these together, the first 30 minutes of the podcast was a special gift for our patrons.
So
If not, fuck it.
Yeah, no, we're gonna make it work. And you know
Push
what?
together, yeah.
I'm just gonna bring back the other system, and I'll figure something else out. This is not making me happy.
All right, well, we'll do whatever it needs to do.
Yep.
Look,
No, the other one was
I have
flawless.
absolute
It was
faith in
flawless.
It was
So,
flawless.
You were
Yeah.
grinding up
So
a drink, and you had a whole lemon.
But it doesn't matter how much equipment. If Chris doesn't realize that he has to talk into a mic, it's pointless. So,
it's a side conversation that they're having about something I have no idea.
I know. Hey, Chris,
He's not talking to the microphone,
you know you got to
so
talk
they
into the mic, right?
I'm not talking to the mic. I'm
Well,
talking.
that's
okay.
illegal. Now you owe us $10 each.
That was a side conversation.
Well, have we started yet?
So yeah, we're back. We've been running for
We
like
never
past 5 minutes.
stopped.
Yeah,
We
never
have
stopped.
2 backups.
Yeah, we never stopped. The Boy Scout, like for the one time.
for you, bro.
How many times have we recorded that we've used the Boy Scout?
Yeah,
Right?
not many, but that's why it's there.
I was going to say for like 10 or 15 podcasts, we've had the Boy Scout sitting there, and the Boy Scout has never had to be called in for service.
Right.
And today I was like, do we really need to plug this fucker in? But you know what?
And you know what else? The camera actually is not bad. It sounds okay.
Okay, here we go.
Good lord.
What happened?
What happened? What are you doing?
Found another
No,
crack.
I'm holding my nicely welded.
You're beautifully
on the thing,
tigged.
and I found another crack.
Hold on, let me see this thing. So, okay,
right
so
there.
for our podcast listeners, I'm going to hold this up to the camera, and this is at roughly minute 32. So right here, so this is a set. This is the bracket that holds the pegs on of a Honda Superhawk.
Cam was behind me when the foot peg fell off.
Right.
It took me over a mile to get your attention.
And what's really cool about these is it gives you the ability to mount your foot pegs in any one of 2 different
Jesus
positions.
Christ.
Is that you okay there, John?
I'm all right.
All right, came in a little bit hot.
I gotta get my
Good thing that wasn't a folding chair. That shit would have unfolded.
What's all this liquid here?
Yeah. So straight up, like the way that the Superhawk works is that you can put your foot pegs in the forward position or the rear
liquid on the
position.
floor.
And most motorcycles today don't give you that option. But they always fucking broke. And especially if you put your foot pegs on the back part, they'd shear off just because this piece, despite its girthiness and its strong appearance, is still just a cast piece.
Well, also because the passenger peg is a rigid thing, so if you drop the bike,
it crushes it right in, man. So
Yeah, no folding pegs on
no
that.
folding pegs on this thing at all. They were just straight up.
I'm going to see the other one. I want to find a crack on the other one, too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
If anybody out there in podcast land needs some extra pegs, I have them.
Well,
a few for shed.
Turns out your weld's okay. Yeah.
Well, no, did you see the other crack?
Yeah, I did.
I just found another crack.
But for real, that other crack It's fine. Yeah. I mean, your repair is completely serviceable. So I think you could run this for the next 60 years. And this bike's 55 years old now, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So 66.
Yeah. So the bike's like 54 years old. And it survived the first 54 years old with only this much of an injury or this much of an insult.
Oh, and it had a lot of cracks.
Yeah. It fell off the bike.
Yeah.
Like, he had to run back. I was waiting I had time to get caught up on my mobile game while I was sitting there.
It was a mile away.
What?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well,
You
it
found
took
it?
me like a mile to get his attention.
And you found it?
No, I was riding behind him and I saw
I
it
went back
fall
and
off.
got it, yeah.
And I started honk, 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 and like taking a hand off and waving.
But how did, in the sense of vagueness, how the fuck did you know where an item fell off a motorcycle at over 50 miles an hour?
Oh, no, I stopped. I told him to turn around, go back, get it.
Okay, and was it in the road? Could you see it?
It was in the road. I could see it.
all right.
I went back going like 30 miles an hour, so I could see it. This was actually on the way to the DGR.
Oh, shit.
Which my bike did not finish.
It did not finish. Okay. It told you early in the game it was not going to make it.
So did
it
you ever
gave
get
a warning
sorted
shot.
out what the real problem
I took the stator off and I tested all the coils and they seem reasonably healthy. I think. I need to put it back. Oh, I did put it back on and I rode it around some more. I need to get a voltage measurement to see what's going on. But
somebody reported seeing you trying to start it and said there was a lot of fuel coming out your tailpipe. Have you had issues with your float height?
I heard somebody say that, and that is nothing that I have ever seen
out
of that bike. So
you've never smelled gasoline
I think that was an erroneous report.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely electrically.
Yeah, your problem's electrical. I mean, the problem is you don't have enough electrical. You're running short of electrons and neutrons, and
there's plenty of fuel, but there's
there are others. Fuel we got, air we got, spark not so much. Yeah. So I mean that repair though, considering that these are made of unobtainium,
it'll work.
It's totally going to work. It's going to work fine. And you know what? I approve of the fact that it looks like a repair.
I'm not even going to clean it up.
I wouldn't even clean it up.
Oh, I've seen much worse on Superhawks and Dreams and stuff.
Of course. And the part of the idea is that it's one thing to be the guy that bought it original, riding it around with like 47 feet of, coat hanger brazing on it, because it's a stamp steel bike, right? And I've seen
a tube print bike.
No, yours is. Yeah. But I'm talking like Dreams and everything else. I've seen guys riding these things around where there's been splits in the frame or splits in the fenders and everything, and the guys are just like stitching it together with coat hangers and Bernzomatics. And you're like, oh, that's fucking cool, whatever.
Drift stitches.
Yeah, exactly, drift stitches, exactly. Yeah, that's exact. Mapcast is a magical thing, isn't it?
Those are some really actually pretty impressive looking welds, considering that's not the easiest thing to weld.
Well, they were done by a professional welder.
Okay.
He knows what he's doing, and he has the actual TIG setup to do it.
And he didn't throw something at you when you brought him a 55-year-old piece of Japanese shit.
He complained a lot because there's a lot of oil soaked in this. It's amazing how porous cast aluminum can be. Because
probably weighs a lot more than it did when it left the factory.
This one,
early C3 Corvette wheels.
Yeah.
Like the style that's on, or late. Early C3 Corvette aluminum wheels. Which
Motorcycle podcast. Nobody's going to get any of this shit.
Anyways, the ones with like 10 holes in them that like every late Dirk Diggler C3 Corvette has. Yeah. The early ones, like they were real issues, like service bullets, because they were very, very porous, tremendously porous.
Anybody who's my age knows what the mags were that were on every Jeep or were on every fucking Ford Ranger.
Oh yeah, like the J.C. Whitney mags.
Those mags were just like, if your hands were slightly dirty and you touched your wheels, they're dirty forever. That's it. You just got to paint those fuckers.
This one is the chain side.
Yes.
And you can see the weld is visibly uglier than the other one, and it's because of just how much oil
it's soaked up
in this part. Yeah.
Oh, sure, Chris. If you're offering.
Was that the one that actually broke?
Oh, my God.
No, the other side broke.
I thought it was. Oh no, chain on your side is on the right side.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to take a look at mine because I'm like, well, maybe not.
Yeah, you probably have a bunch of hair.
Oh, I've seen tons of cracks in mine. I mean, I know for a fact that thing's been on.
I
ground
swear
once
this
or twice,
crack is worse after Phil dropped it.
Oh no!
I'll put money on it. It's going almost all the way through now.
It's the harmonics, isn't it? It was the harmonics of dropping it.
Way to go, Phil.
Yeah.
I think it is worse.
Oh my shit, God. Are you serious? Yeah. Are you serious?
It'll be fine.
Dropped under its own weight, and now the crack's
If
worse.
that's enough to break it, then you shouldn't even.
Then
put
you
it back
shouldn't
in.
have had it. It was never. It was never.
That's
good
a crack
in the first
that was
place.
not attempted to be repaired because I did not see it earlier.
You have to drill a hole right at the beginning
Yeah,
of the
that's
crack.
what I did
Yeah.
with those cracks. I drilled
Yeah.
a hole to stop it, and then we
Stop it.
welded
Good idea.
Yeah.
Did you get any of those as seen at the motorcycle show welding rods?
Those Illuma rods.
The
I've
Illuma
used
rods?
those in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've used them actually.
Alumaloy.
I don't think Alumaloy gets any penetration.
No,
I think it's just like
basically just like
Bondo.
soldering.
It's just
Solder,
Bondo. Yeah, it's just Bondo. You're
Window
basically
dressing.
just
All right, you've
filling a
had enough.
hole
Look.
or covering a blemish, but you're not going to penetrate into the other metal because
No.
you're simply using map gas.
Yeah.
You know?
It just fits into the nooks and crannies
it
enough
fills the
that
hole.
it doesn't come off.
Right,
Yeah.
but you could use super glue to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I like
Right.
the feel of this.
Yeah, I just don't see that you're getting
Always
any
like
actual
these
penetration
things.
into the other bond.
It's a
So-
beautiful
Way they feel.
casting.
The toothed,
Yeah.
Oh.
Give it back.
God, you guys are fighting over an old piece
If
of
you
metal.
guys are both correct, it's gonna break like a fucking wishbone.
I'll
Yeah.
break you like a wishbone.
Well, Li's already dead.
And then the only winner is Nick.
No, you did it.
Oh.
It's the reason I didn't come back in 2017.
So we did want to. We
Love you,
did.
Cam.
So the big news was
Love you too, from-
yesterday after being punch drunk and stupid after driving for
Are we
umpteen hours.
Are we calling Rand?
We're gonna. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to Rand. All right. I decided to listen to nothing but podcasts for about 28 hours. And if you listen to nothing but motorcycle podcasts for 28 hours,
Go insane?
Gets you thinking.
gets you thinking. So I did get home, and according to somebody on January 4th of 2020, and this is from blog.feedspot.com, whatever that is.
I didn't realize it was that recent. Holy crap.
Yeah. We were the number one motorcycle podcast.
until today.
Until today. And then we went down in flames.
Who wrote the description?
This is our boiler. This is our bullshit
Okay.
description.
I do like
Yeah.
that false neutral is number 2.
Yep. False neutral is number 2.
The false neutral guys.
Yep. And are they're still recording, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, right. Because they're part of the Hooniverse.
What did it
And that
say our
gets you.
frequency was?
Our frequency? What's the frequency, Kenneth?
Twice a week.
This is all.
It
that
should be
2
no
episodes a
neutral.
week.
What's
It's all
that?
the way through.
SSR should be no neutral.
Right, no neutral. False neutral, no neutral. I bet you can't find neutral, motherfucker. There's a neutral in there, but I'm not going to tell you where it is. You're going to figure that
Somewhere
shit out on
between,
your
like,
own.
3 and 5.
But it was really cool. It was fun to see our podcast listed so nicely. That was
Oh
really
yeah,
cool.
you're. I think most of us are on the front page at HD Forums this week too. Because
Oh, really?
A picture that I took of the pod. If you want to go there real quick,
HD Forums?
It's actually.
That picture is like 4 years old.
In Dustin's garage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's an old picture.
Yeah, because you saw a live wire
Steve, you were
out and
crazy.
about.
Yeah.
Just
Out
plugged
in
into.
the world.
Well, it was at Disney, so.
It was at Disney. Yep, it was at
I
Disney.
like that little heater Dustin had.
Yeah. Oh, that little tiny heater. We all tried to huddle around like a space heater. We'd all huddle around it, light our cigarettes off of it.
It was a pilot.
Because we were smart. Yeah. So we're at hdforums.com.
I want that dude's job. The guy that draws the cartoons.
That's a really bad cartoon.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. I mean, okay, it's not that bad.
Jerry
Not that
King.
good.
All right.
He does a ton of them for a ton of our
Well, I'm
websites.
sure he does.
These
But
things are ugly.
So what are we looking for?
What are
if
we
you
looking
just
for?
click my name on that Softail Slim story, it'll show you just the whole list of my posts.
Down a little bit. There you go.
Yeah. And I think like the second or third one.
Vanderhorst.
Looks like Cameron
Vanderhorst.
Sloot.
Cameron
That's such a
Vanderhorst.
cool name, Cam.
Thanks,
He does. He's got a fantastic
Yeah, there it is.
one.
There we are.
But look at us. Look, we've made it to the Harley Davidson
Wait,
forums.
is that the same one?
No, it's a slightly different picture.
It is a slightly different picture. There you go. There's us. Oh, Dr. Waters is in there.
I think that was the night I rode the Vespa up here.
I think it was the night you rode the Vespa.
Yeah,
up
my
there.
hair definitely reflects. I rode something.
Yeah, you were wearing some helmet head there, pal. Yeah, very cool.
I think I
Excellent.
said we discuss everything from motorcycles to military equipment, spicy sausage recipes, and bad dental work.
What's that bike in the background
Which one?
on the screen?
On the
Oh,
screen?
that was, we were looking at the Roy. That's the
That's the
W800?
W800. Yeah, W800 or the W850. Yeah.
Looks like it was a Bud Light night too.
Apparently, it was a Bud Light night for somebody. It wasn't for me.
Those were all
This
mine.
HD form.
Check out the
Yeah.
empties.
You only bring out the big guns for the HD forums. Yeah, when you're pushing on that much metal, you got to have a Bud Light.
All natter days.
It was all natter days.
But I was just really happy because I had got a lot of my buddies in that picture.
That's
I don't have
fantastic,
enough pictures
dude. That's
with
a great
all
picture.
of you guys, but
that is a great picture. Someday we got to go to Olin Mills and get a proper picture taken.
There you go.
Oh, family.
It's like all of us, and then like your face, like way bigger in the background, like coming out of the mist.
Just in a vignette on the background, like Jesus in the background. Staring off like a Nazi propaganda photograph. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the way we roll.
I don't want to sidetrack things too much.
Total motorcycle.
Oh, no,
you're thinking about
Total fucking motorcycle,
You're all
pal.
on the
Feel
homepage.
free to sidetrack things as much as you like at this point.
Right, feel free to. I mean, look, the audio is going to be... No, we've created 44 minutes of beautiful content right now. So, would anyone like to hear from our friend Rand?
Yes.
Call Rand.
Call Rand. Call Rand. Call Rand.
Okay, guys, can't call Rand until I read you his last text.
Okay.
Or series of texts. So,
Sounds so ominous.
For anybody who wasn't paying attention at the very end of last week's podcast, one of our listeners, Rand, in Portland, saw fit to use our Patreon Bat Phone hotline number. So if you go on Patreon, you can help us to the tune of $1 a month. To that, you get our eternal thanks. $5 a month, which Renee will send you a T-shirt and a coffee mug or a pint glass or whatever we have laying around sticker-wise. But if you put in at the $10 level, you get the above-mentioned party pack, plus you get a phone number. And the phone number comes into this device right here, my handy-dandy iPhone 10.
Burner phone.
It's an app. It's an app inside my phone that might as well be called Burner Phone. It's the app you use when you call those numbers you shouldn't be calling. And so anyway, our friend Rand did leave us a fantastic series of messages last week. And apparently while we were recording or after we'd finished last week, he did reach back out to us again because he does know when we record. So that was pretty cool.
Be texting right now.
He should be texting me right now. In fact, he probably will. But I will say that he did text us back again. And in the spirit of everything that is Rand, I am now going to read Rand. Okay, so we last responded with him talking about the fact that he really, really, really wanted John to show up at the Portland 1 show, first weekend of February.
I've been watching some leg wrestling videos too, by the way.
Oh, you're getting geared up?
I'm practicing with my daughter. Yeah.
For your leg wrestling? So he said, it's Friday night, are you guys on? And I wrote, well, we wrapped up a couple hours ago. We read your fantastic text message on the air. I think I've got John McElfresh convinced to come to Portland. Send. Okay. Approximately 3 hours later, Rand posts back, no way, really? Seriously? You and John? I've been actively avoiding the people at work that I had previously told about the event because I don't want them to distract me from hanging with you and the Cleveland crew. Okay, so I was super fucked up last week, but the sentiment was heartfelt. I'm serious about helping you guys out in any way I can. We've got a couple of extra rooms, and if the weather isn't totally fucked, I'd love to take you guys for a ride. Tell John I won't try to Indian wrestle him.
That's it.
I would just like to point out. I was super fucked up last week, but the sentiment rings true. Is probably one of the nicest text messages guys like us could hope to receive.
Yes,
Absolutely.
totally.
I was expecting that phone number to be an FU line, and it hasn't turned into that yet.
I've had a lot of dick pics. But anyway. So, okay.
And you haven't been sharing them?
I will later. Okay. I'm serious. Okay, anyway. Do you have my cell phone number? And then he gives us his cell phone number. Good news is I've been getting your texts. I assume you've been sending me your texts on your cell phone, so I think we got it covered.
Call Rand.
We got it.
Call Rand. Call Rand. Call Rand.
Would you like to hear the rest of these first?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Or would you like me to call Rand right now?
No, let's hear the rest of them.
Okay. All right. I rearranged a family reunion so that I would be back home Friday night so I could see you guys on Saturday. But if you don't show up until really late on Friday, we'll post you up.
Oh my god.
All right.
This poor guy's making a big mistake.
Oh my god.
Phil, I'm sort of a civil engineer. My job primarily consists of communication with clients and
How
jurisdictions.
the fuck do you be sort of a civil engineer? You're a civil engineer or you're not a civil engineer. It's an all or nothing affair.
Were you not here for the previous posts?
Don't give my boy Rand shit.
He's a cranky fucking sewer worker.
He is hard.
It's the gig economy, dude. He
If
might
you're
have
a
a
civil
gig.
engineer for the city, then you're just sort of a civil.
All right. That said, at the end of the week, I'm exhausted with corresponding with people, but it's my superpower. Phil, do you know of any local civil engineering firms that need someone that is extremely proficient in feasibility, entitlements, engineering, design, construction, management, and closeout? If you do, I could relocate and hang with you guys.
Bye-bye, wife.
I'm just going to say, I've never met Rand before,
Yeah.
but the sentiments are this sentiment is heartfelt, and I'm not fucked up. I have a guest room.
Yeah.
Rand sounds like a fucking party.
Rand sounds like my kind of fucking guy is what he does. And
You'd
again,
be better off in Cleveland than in Portland.
and I think he has a lightly used 2016 Rebel.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. And a less than enthusiastic wife. All right. That said, I'm not cheap. Oh, if you come to Cleveland, you'll be cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The good news is the cost of living here is about a third of what it
You're
is in
going way
Portland.
down.
So I would just
Yeah.
like to put things in perspective.
You'll make
for-
half as much money, but it'll feel like twice as much money.
Go to Riverwood every night
Yeah.
and get a $2 beer.
That's true.
I'd like to put something in perspective
Yeah.
for Rand. I had a friend that I kind of grew up around in Northeast Ohio, and then he moved out to San Francisco, and he's like a pharmacist now, and he's
Yeah.
going to move back here.
Right.
And he's got like a pretty nice, very, very painfully middle-class ranch house in San Francisco.
Oh,
He's looking at
$1 million.
selling that house, and to replace it with that money when he gets here, he's looking at a straight
He's
up
gonna buy Euclid.
a straight up mansion that
Oh.
like a Goodyear executive owned in the 20s.
I think you should just buy Euclid.
With about 2/3 of the money
Yeah.
from that. So the cost of living in Ohio is remarkably cheap.
Oh, it's remarkably
There's
cheap.
a dude I know that lived in San Francisco that had a video company and moved here, and he sold his house that was like in like the Haight or whatever, somewhere over there. He got here and couldn't believe, like, it's in Cleveland Heights. It's a
Yeah.
big, it's a like probably a 2,800, 3,000 square foot house in Cleveland Heights on Washington.
Beautiful
house,
on
right?
Washington. Yeah.
He bought the house cash, and he decided that he didn't have to work for 4 years because he had his bank account
Exactly.
was so fat from selling his other house. He's just chilling. He rides his BMW. He sold me some video
hire
gear.
somebody else to cut your snow.
Yeah.
All right. After he says, that said, I'm not cheap. And I've created a half-baked riding group at work. And they look up to me, even though I ride the much-despised R1200 GS.
Well, then why do you want to leave?
They look up to you.
Right.
Why is it?
Well, they have to. It's an R1200 GS. It's 18 feet tall.
Much despised.
Again,
Wait, when has it ever been despised?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm not into BMWs. I'm not
Yeah.
into touring bikes, but if somebody tells me they ride an R1200 GS, I'm like, ooh.
oh, no.
You make that face where, like, you stretch out your filtrum out. You know, where, like, not bad face.
I don't make that.
No,
face.
I do, because the fucking linked ABS brakes on that thing are garbage.
Well, yeah, but
But you
can't
didn't
do
say
that.
the bike is garbage. You said a part of the bike is garbage.
And I stand behind that.
Because I've
Okay.
owned a bike that was garbage. I still do.
Am I the fucking Starbucks poser even though I ride to work in 34-degree weather when nobody else will even fancy the thought? No,
Yes.
You're not.
Oh.
No, you're not a Starbucks poser. You're riding to work in 34 goddamn degrees.
I don't
You
ride in
live in
34
Seattle.
degrees.
He lives in Portland. Exactly, right.
I get
34.
paid for my shitty motorcycle opinions, and I don't ride in 34 degrees.
It's
I'm
a
a
great
poser.
It's a great fucking bike. I will absolutely admit this. I drank 2 full swallows of the long way around. I'm middle-aged. I watched the show a long time ago. I'm an average Joe. I worked extra hard so that I could get to a point to get this bike. It does everything I ask of it. But when I'm angry, when I'm feeling like a dick at the end of a particularly shitty week, and I just want to rip shit up and to be absolutely clear, when I want to go plaid, it lets me down.
Oh, I thought he was
Like,
going to say
lets
that's
him
when he gets
down
on the Rebel
because-
250.
No, because like, it's the point being, when this dude wants to fucking paint snakes on the road, the R1200 GS is leaving him a little short. In
Doesn't do it.
Phil.
You know what? I have.
He sounds
the
like a
grumpy
future-
sewer guy.
Yeah.
As advice.
Yeah, Hayabusa, stretch swinger.
Buy a monkey.
Oh, monkey.
Oh,
I
I
was
thought you were
gonna
going to
say-
say
Cure the lack of
passport.
horsepower problem with less horsepower.
I was going to say, he sounds like a future Versys owner.
I was going to say, turn down the horsepower, turn up the
the
shenanigans.
best way to diss people.
It's Dr. Waters.
The best way to diss people is to like lane split on a monkey.
On a monkey, of course, because you're still going twice their speed. Yeah. You don't need 200 horsepower to go faster than the guy who's stuck in traffic in a Camry.
Right.
Is he drunk right now?
Who? Time check says 0241 my time, 1141 his time.
Okay.
So probably not.
Does Dr. Waters need attention?
No, Doctor. Well, you might have to move your car.
She walked in and then walked out.
Yeah, she needs to move her car. The Korean touring stand.
She's leaving, right?
Needs to be moved.
She needs to get out.
Oh yeah, you need to help her out because otherwise she'll try to move her car without moving your car.
I'm gonna go take care of Dr. Waters.
We can't call Rand until McElfresh gets back in.
Yep. Yeah, because she will try to move her car without moving your car.
Shit up. Breaking.
Because she doesn't want to interrupt our podcast.
She said, "Okay, I'm leaving."
All right. Yeah, that was it. Well, she does not want to get sucked into this podcast after being on an airplane for 7 hours. All right. So here we go. All right. Here we go. We're back. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Did you just find a dick pic?
No, I didn't. But I just realized it goes on a little bit. Okay, here we go. Remember, he's talking about he wishes the GS had more in the power department. A bike that lets a 6'4", 265-pound guy let loose. I want to be afraid of the fucker between my leg for at least 100 miles. Thoughts?
Oh, God.
A big dude who wants a bike that can fucking scare him. I'd say if you want to be reasonable with the money,
I'd go with the Passport.
We sold.
Wait, more whiskey.
Bandit 1200.
That's what I was thinking.
Bandit 1200, but wait, I
was just
sold
gonna say
a
that.
2006 BMW K1200.
Okay.
So I sold a K1200S, which is 180 miles an hour,
Right.
Thank you.
to a dude who died recently. He
Shit.
didn't die on the bike; he died of old age.
Oh,
he bought the
okay.
bike just before he died.
Yeah.
So, excuse me.
I was thinking
Quick
cheaper than
promo.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I was thinking cheaper than that.
No, I
but-
sold that bike to that guy for like $5,200.
Okay.
So you could probably circulate back now that there's a corpse involved.
That's
you could
true.
probably
That's
circulate
true.
back out in the universe for about 4,500. Yeah.
So, remember like 3 years ago when I test rode back to back your V7,
Yep.
a Ducati Scrambler,
Yep.
and a 1200 Roadster
Yep.
Sportster.
Yeah.
And of the three,
Right.
the only time I've ever gotten a bike sideways on a test ride
Right.
was the Ducati.
Yeah.
And the Ducati was also the most powerful of the three.
Right.
Also
those
the
three, yeah.
least interesting to ride.
But he's riding an R1200 GS, which to put it in perspective right now, that's a 4-valve per cylinder motor.
Right.
And it's
Is that 110 horsepower?
110 plus horsepower.
Wow.
Right. So that's the same motor that's an R9T.
Well, this is what I'm getting at. He doesn't need more power.
Right.
He needs
less
a
bike.
less good bike. He needs
He
a
needs a
shittier
less
bike.
good bike.
I'm thinking.
He needs less traction.
I'm saying that with like complete with no sense of irony whatsoever.
I'm saying he needs a $1,200 Bandit.
Yeah. No, I think so.
I was thinking inline
That's
4.
awesome. Yeah.
Like I was actually a CB 550
Oh, shit.
or a CB 750 with not much pipe on it, just stupid loud,
Yeah.
stupid awful. But when you get on it, it's like all kinds of noise.
You know what?
I started thinking of
It's all kinds of angry every time you
all
ride
the
it.
cheap sport bikes you can get, but he's 6'12" or whatever.
Yeah,
so like
right.
you can't get a
6'4",
small bike.
206 pounds.
Yeah,
You know what?
Yeah, because I was thinking that
Bandit.
too.
$3,200 Hayabusa.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
I
if
say
you're
a CX 650.
CX650 and build your own turbo at Home Depot.
if you're into
Boost that thing with like 3 atmospheres.
Exactly.
are there any like mainline mid 90s sport bikes that are big enough for a guy his size?
Yeah. The Honda
Because-
CB1000 big one.
yep. Or the Hornet 919.
Or the Hornet
Yeah, because those bikes are dirt cheap right now, and you
They
can
are.
find them original, unmolested. And if you buy that bike right now and you decide you don't like it in a year, you're going to make $500 $1,000 easy on
Right,
any of those
and
bikes.
the thing's gnarly. It's
What
a,
about
it's a
just a
fast
stupid
bike.
CBR 600?
Well, how about this?
Well, that's
John.
is he too big for it though?
Yeah.
Back to
Oh,
It's all
Calling out
about
John by name. John, what scares you but you still want to ride it?
Oh.
Your wife.
He wants to ride the cranky old sewer guy, but he won't let him.
John, Mr. McElfresh, you and I are big dudes. Do you ever just get tired of all the small, regular-sized people and want to unleash our power?
yes every day. I wish that I could solve all my problems with violence.
You He starts talking. He starts talking in parentheses. He starts talking in parentheses. You guys are getting look. If you think the movie's over, you're wrong.
Nope.
This movie's good.
Well, the other flip side, what would scare
This
me
is like Marvel. You got to wait for the post credits.
or get your hands on a good dirt bike.
Okay, well that's another. Okay, so I just wrote and deleted a lot of big guy diatribe. No, he actually took the time to write. I just wrote and deleted a lot of big guy diatribe.
There's a lot that doesn't need to be said.
There is. There's a lot of unspoken understanding among the big men.
You know what I say? That's zero right there.
I have a feeling you're a lot.
No, seriously, that's zero right there.
No, zeros are fucking silly.
No, that one.
That one.
No, that
the
one.
SRF.
That one right there.
Yeah, the SRF.
That one.
You mean 144 torques? Yeah.
140.
Okay. When you want to cut loose, what is your bike of choice? I'm talking Sasquatch hooligan shit. Talk to me, man. Suzuki DR 1300. That's when you start with a DR 650 and you put a Hayabusa motor in it.
Wow.
I really thought it would have been fun if we could have done that, the GSXR 600 thing.
Right. The GSXR. Yeah,
that would have been a hoot.
Yeah, with knobbies
but
and silliness.
No.
You still have the bike.
I'll tell you, Rand, I really don't cut loose much anymore. I mean, I'm not going to... but I like
pussy now.
Well, I mean...
No, look, he's not afraid to take a girl out he barely knows and crash her into the mud at Mid-Ohio on the back of a dirt bike.
Sure.
No,
Well,
that's not a problem.
But here's another option too.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to get a bigger bike and go faster in a straight line, why don't you find a curvier road and just take your bike and push yourself on some curves? That's scary.
Well, I have
as shit
taken the
too
path
sometimes.
that I don't want. I've always that the reason I've gotten first, I'm cheap,
Right.
So that's why I have all old cheap ass beat ass bikes.
Yeah.
But second, I don't want to be on a Hayabusa. Because,
You've kind of been eyeballing a CBR 1000 Hurricane.
yes,
Yeah.
that's but even that scares me because
Right.
I don't want to be going 150.
Because,
miles an
again,
hour.
C51.
Because there's always the last 5 minutes of your ride.
That's a good bike.
It's always the last 5 minutes of your ride. I could ride any bike, but the last 5 minutes of my ride, when I'm within sight of my house, that's the time
You
to
turn
do
up
what you
the
all
stupid.
do. Is you open it up and see how fast it'll go.
I could walk home from here.
It'll coast. It could blow up, and I'll still roll into my driveway. So.
I could toss a fucking piston, clean out the bottom of this motor, and it would still coast into my driveway.
You know what Rand needs if he really wants a bike that'll scare him?
Yeah.
A vintage Vespa.
A vintage Vespa. That is truly the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, my Vespa. I mean, wheelies, first, second gear, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Yeah, a whole lot of fun.
We'll seize at 60 miles an hour without any warning.
Without any warning whatsoever. There's nothing better than an Italian two-stroke.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
You don't have to worry about coming off at 100 mile an hour.
No, you
That's
don't.
right.
No. But coming off at 40 miles an hour will make you see God just
Sucks.
fine. It sucks.
I did a lot of stupid stuff on small bikes, like
Right. Oh, yeah.
take a
Find a
1970,
puddle.
take a 19 CB,
Just find a pedal like you did.
Just fucking, yeah, it's all about aquaplaning.
take a 1974 CB200.
Yeah.
On the highway at 10,000 RPM for 12 hours.
For 12 hours.
You can have fun with that.
I guarantee it'll be thrilling. Yeah. He just said ticket purchase made. Me sad. Ticketmaster. So that was at 0303 Portland time. So he's buying tickets to the one show at 0300. Oh, and then 0900. Sorry, man, just woke up. You should block me or change your number.
No, you're paying $10.
I like
No,
that
dude.
guy.
No, you're like this is the definition of what a hotline member should be.
He's getting his $10 worth.
Well, we're getting his $10 worth.
I mean, let's be
motherfucker.
honest. This is what we expected.
He paid to give us a whole lot of fun right
Call Rand.
now. Call Rand. You guys are fucking savage. I would never call Rand right now.
I'll call
That would be a terrible
He's
thing to do.
calling Rand.
I wouldn't do that. Only a dick would do that.
Oh boy.
Is
We'll
it on
see.
speaker?
Yeah.
No, turn it up, man.
He is turning it up. Settle down.
I'll reach across the table.
I wouldn't pick up.
Plug it into a Bluetooth.
If I were me,
speaker.
I will be very disappointed.
I wouldn't pick
Poor
up.
Rand.
No, I wouldn't pick up, dude. I wouldn't pick up. You know what?
Rand, pick up.
A guy like
pick up.
Rand screens his calls.
Your call has been
Oh,
forwarded.
Rand.
I told you a guy like Rand screens his
Call
calls.
back.
I'm just gonna
Text
text
him. No, yeah,
I'm
text
gonna
him and say, pick up the phone, cocksucker.
Really, Steve? Really? Do we need to do that?
Is that the end of his text?
I'm not going to
messaging?
change
In
my
Rand's
number,
defense,
comma.
it is
but
Friday
you
night.
should totally pick up your phone right now. Period.
There it is.
Send.
Well, in his defense, it's 6:35 p.m. He did mention wife earlier. That's what they like to call dinner time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's what wives like to call dinner time. Last time he tried to reach out to us, it was probably 8 o'clock his time, 8 or 9 o'clock his time. So that's fine. So we'll give him a minute.
This is his only chance, though. After this, he's cut off.
There was much more to that text message than what you've read so far.
No, dude, we're in.
That's it?
That was it. No, because each one of those is very short.
Okay.
Yeah. He does, he's the short with the quick message button, right? So it's pretty funny.
See, but I feel his pain.
Yeah.
I feel his pain every day.
Oh. What? Well,
being the 6'6" person you are,
I understand his train of thought.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My bike is.
What are you gonna do? You're stuck where you are. So.
Yeah. You guys want a tech question?
Yep.
From a hotline member.
All right.
Phil, Matt Davidson from good old Iowa. I hope you guys aren't getting the shit storm of snow that we are here. But since it's Friday, I had a question for the podcast. I've got a 72 SL70.
I do too.
That's right. A grumpy sewer
He
worker.
could have said he could have said any motorcycle ever made, and somebody at this table would go, "I've got one of those."
It's pretty fair. Yeah, that's not that far off.
Yeah, get it straight. Get it fucking straight, dude.
No.
All right, are we back in? Here we back in.
Corrected me. I have a
1972 SL70. SL70. It's the motorcycle-y one.
Yeah.
It's the more of a motorcycle.
I thought SL was the dirt bike.
Yeah,
It
the
is.
dirt bike.
Okay.
Yeah, it's less of a
Street bike.
It's less of a
Right.
foldable bike.
Fucked up tonight.
It is
Less-
more of a
right.
dirt.
It's
it
more of a
has-
dirt bike,
The
yeah.
fenders have clearance between the tires.
Right, and none of it folds.
No.
Right.
Yes, it is not a CT70.
There's nothing.
Not by design.
It is not a CL70.
It's not a CL.
He has a CL70,
Right. It's
which
not a
is
CL.
a big
It's
wheel
not a
70.
CT.
Well, go fuck yourself. Oh no! I know what you were to say.
sewer guy is getting rampant.
All right.
All right, you guys ready?
Grumpy sewer guy.
All right. The headlight will not come on, although it did when I put the new one in for about 2 minutes. The taillight and brake light also only last for about 5 miles max, but now
Battery's dead.
last for about 10 to 12 miles after putting a 6-volt home security battery in it.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's getting about 10 to 12 miles now that he's put a 6-volt home security battery in it. Which, by the way, he thanks us for giving him that tip. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Hope all is well with you, gentlemen.
12 volt.
So I'm going to tell you. Well, I'm going to tell you what I told him. I said to just make sure the green wire is grounded to the frame somewhere. We talked about that briefly. You cannot rely on them to have a good frame ground, which is totally true in my experience. The green wire by the battery, the one that appears to be extra, you just need to make sure you have as many grounds as possible with that system.
Right.
So if the factory ever chose to put, when you're dealing with these old vintage 60s or 70s bikes,
And the wires turn into like nothing. Like,
they literally flake apart.
They disintegrate.
So if you're not going to replace the wires that are on the bike, if you're going to try to use 50 or 60-year-old wire, you need to make sure the grounds are as good as they can possibly be. John said, swap out the selenium rectifier with a silicone or a more modern regulator rectifier. He said, it's a balanced load system, so any bulbs being out will cause the others to fail very quickly. So we know that.
I actually bought. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That's okay. You were fired.
So this is what I just went through with my brother. He called me up for a tech tip. He's working on the CT90, but basically, I'm sure pretty the same. So when you're putting the battery, if you bought a new battery, the factory battery has a black lead that comes off it with a ring terminal usually, and that just connects to the frame.
And if you paid $70 for your battery, it probably has that wire on there. You can't figure out what it's for.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
But then there's probably two red wires, or a red and a red white.
Yep.
So going to the battery, there should be two red wires. One is going to be fused.
It's going to go right into a fuse holder.
That's a fuse holder. That goes up to your ignition switch, and that is a fused circuit for the bike.
Yep.
The other wire, which usually also has a little bit of what they call spider cloth on it, or insulating
It's
cloth.
got a little bit of an insulator on it.
And that one is usually red-white. That is going to your rectifier.
Just to the rectifier.
And so that is what charges your battery.
Yep, exactly.
If that is not hooked to the battery will not charge. And generally, it's a pretty simple system. It's not switched.
Right.
It is you have said stator, goes to rectifier, and charges battery.
That's right.
It never disconnects.
It never
or anything.
disconnects. Yeah.
It's so that if that's not working, that's going to be a problem.
That's a problem. Right. And that is the problem.
So check that. Check the green ground to the frame.
Yeah.
From there.
You guys ready?
Yep.
It says, "Thank you, good sir. The rectum fryer was my next guess, as I have a Trail 70 that's having similar symptoms. However, the other bulbs in the system are still working perfectly fine, which was what had me a little thrown off. Obviously, the SL70 relies on the motor running to turn the headlight on, and the other lights are strictly battery powered."
Oh, so he's got an AC headlight.
That's what it sounds like. So if your headlight only comes on when the motor's running, that means you have an AC headlight, and then
I do not have first-hand knowledge of an SL70.
Yeah. Me either.
But I've never seen a Honda that had an AC headlight.
AC headlight.
That's like moped.
So, right, and that is moped style, aka dirt bike, trail bike style. So there are a hell of a lot of dirt bikes and trail bikes in the world that run a line out for a headlight, tail light only. And they would be AC, because when the battery's totally chucked out and dead and gone...
Passports are like that.
Passports are the same way. These are bikes that have that circuit.
Sure. But your same year of CL70 does not.
Does not. That's right. Yeah. It's something that I...
No, they're
battery
different.
Yeah, they're a little different. So that's something to be aware of. What I would say is, I think that the original advice is still the best advice. Check every fucking ground in the thing for sure, and then make sure that all the bulbs are there. And I know this sounds fucking weird, but make sure they're all 6-volt bulbs and you're in a 6-volt system.
Oh, yeah.
Because what's going to happen is, if you've got some 12-volt bulbs in there, they are going to be stealing as much as they can handle. They just basically become these really thick resistors, and then we fall back into Ohm's law. So
I just ran into this issue on my Vespa Grande moped. The thing with old Vespa mopeds is that the engine will not run if your taillight is burnt out.
Right, exactly.
And if you have a 12-volt bulb, it also won't run.
It won't run.
Yeah.
Right. It's a really interesting thing when people bring old bikes in that are like constant loss like that. There's no battery whatsoever and a balanced system. Yeah, somebody putting in like, oh, the bulb burned out. So what do? You put in a bulb in. Well, what bulb did you put in?
Well, here's a dual filament bulb.
It's a dual filament bulb, right? I went and got it at the hardware store. Yep. I took a dual filament bulb out. I went to the hardware store or the auto parts store. The guy sold me a dual filament bulb. I put it in. It fit. It worked. It is in the holder. And when I kick the bike over, it starts to glow. But it will never start.
Yeah.
The motorcycle will never start. So unless you have a 6-volt bulb where a 6-volt bulb is supposed to be, in a lot of these bikes, they're not going to run right. A 12-volt bulb will mean you're not going to get enough to the coil to trigger and fire the spark.
But also my Super Hawk is a balanced system. And I'm running out of things to test, so I'm thinking it might be a ground problem as well.
Yeah, if you're running out of things to test, that's usually a good indication you've got a ground problem.
What is the newest 6-volt bike you could buy?
Ooh, 1980s Honda,
a dirt bike.
The early CM200s were 6-volt, and then they turned over to 12-volt. So like 78, 79.
I think I can beat
maybe an 80.
Maybe one Passport to 6-volt.
6-volt. I'm almost positive that an 83 Vespa Piaggio PX125 is still a 6-volt.
Oh, that's cheating.
The P200 was a 12-volt. And the 74, which is fucking hilarious, is the 74 Rally 200 is a 12-volt.
You said PX125?
P125X. Flip it around.
Is it 6-volt?
Yep. It's really confusing because the P200Es are electronic ignition and they're 12-volt. And then the P125Xs are 6-volt. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Might
Italians.
explain something, huh?
It seems fine.
It might be fine. Right. Yeah, it might be fine.
I guess what happens if you just put all 12-volt bulbs in it and put a 6-volt 12-volt
Well, you
battery?
know that deep down inside, a lot of these bikes, they are 6 volts at their core.
Yeah.
So
well,
the only
a
thing
lot of them, the ignition.
That's
the,
right. The ignition
coil
is 6 volts. You're exactly right. Yeah.
But the lighting is 12 volt.
The lighting's 12 volt.
I guess it comes down to your rectum fire.
I think it does.
Look at the box that's in back there. Because mine, I think, is 12 volt. It's got to be 12 volt. Because it's a 12 volt battery. And it does the thing where if there's no charge on the battery, it won't charge.
Right.
But if you start the bike and... What the fuck was that?
Jesus Christ.
Holy shit.
Jesus.
Stuff's just falling apart around here.
But if you put a charger on it and get it going, and then take it
then
off,
it'll stay.
So my tail light's lit up. It's a 12 volt tail light bulb. And now the headlight's running off of AC.
The 150s that came out were 12 volt when they came in with the electric starters. But because the P125X never had an electric starter, it didn't need to have a 12 volt battery. So they did 6 volts in those for a long time.
Well, mine's got a 12-volt battery.
Ta-da! Yeah.
If it would have blown, if that had 12, but I.
And by the way, that is some nerdy fucking bullshit Vespa knowledge that nobody ever needs to have.
I appreciated it.
Well, I mean, for the poor bastards out there that have P5Xs.
All right, we did. He didn't answer.
We tried. We'll try him again. We'll see if he picks up the phone.
Try again, because if I get like a random phone call from a number I don't recognize,
You said random.
But if I get it twice,
then I'll definitely not answer.
definitely not answer.
If he doesn't pick up, I have a new topic.
Oh, you have a new topic? Excellent. Because we did have a topic tonight.
We did.
There was a topic. Everyone had homework.
What is your bike that you are interested in riding and or procuring?
What's your 2020 unicorn?
Right.
What's your 2020 bike?
But that's pretty interesting that Rand said that, because I am kind of stagnant in my bike situation, and I was kind of thinking this is going to be the super bike summer for me. Like, I kind of would like to maybe ride that big one. I've had a big one in my garage for 5 or 6 years. I don't know.
There's 100 and some horsepower.
Can we leave him a voicemail?
Down, bro.
I'll have to call him randomly later. Hey! All right, so
New topic. I tackled a white whale today, and
was it slippery?
No, but here's the thing. I've wanted a bike for a long time, and I found it in a really interesting way. So when you look for bikes, where do you guys usually look?
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace.
Where else?
Craigslist.
All right. Depending on what it is, if it's a dirt-oriented bike or an ATV,
they find me.
Have you ever thought about looking up farmers for sale things in different areas?
No. For farmers only.
So I was looking for, I had a boner for a 3-wheeler for a long time. I used to love them. And I came up with the idea that a lot of the 3-wheelers that I was into were sold as farm utility vehicles back in the day. So I started looking up like West Ohio farmers seller, whatever. And you started finding all these little forums and stuff of farmers selling like backhoes and all this other shit, and also 3-wheelers.
Well, the whole barn find thing, I mean...
Didn't some of those have PTOs on them, too? Not to get too off topic.
What's a PTO?
Power
takeoffs.
I think you can hook
I don't know how it would
Maybe.
happen.
I don't know.
Be like an electric PTO. I don't know, Cam.
But anyways, I found a Northwest Ohio farmers sell and buy forum, and I was able to find a 1984 Honda 200 ES Big Red 3-wheeler, original owner. The guy's 94 years old, and his wife. They make kettle corn now as their little business, and they sell it. And
did you get some kettle corn?
$500. The thing is probably has 200 hours on it. The plastic's good. Everything is good. It has a little bit of age to it. I'm going to have them tighten things up and stuff, but $500.
It looks
great. And I brought it home today.
It looks beautiful.
All the racks, too. It's got the racks.
Everything's there.
You said it had a trailer hitch, right?
It has a trailer hitch on the back. Wow. It can tow 700 pounds. It has 10 gears. It has 5 high, 5 low, and reverse.
Well, no. It can tow 7,000 pounds.
Well, yeah, at Mid-Ohio.
right. In Mid-Ohio, I'm pretty sure that thing can tow 7,000 pounds.
But seriously, if that was on the Facebook Marketplace or something like that, that's a $2,000 bike.
Yeah.
A $1,500 bike.
I'm so happy for you.
But I'm just saying, there's if you really look into things and kind of think about things and where they're coming from, there's other options. There's other ways to look for a bike and find it.
It's a good thing you had a 3-rail trailer.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, right?
It's funny you mention that, because I was going to suggest Racing Junk. RacingJunk.com isn't just... Racing Junk used to be just nothing but old race cars, race car parts, trailers, haulers, and stuff. You'll see a lot of bikes that people use as pit bikes on there, but now you can just post regular cars on there. So the other day I was scrolling through new listings, and I saw an 03 Civic, I saw an anniversary Softail. But you can find a lot of cool stuff on Racing Junk, because guys that sell, and the guys that you're buying from and selling to are folks like us.
Just to prove that there's no such thing as no, really, I'm the only person that's into this weird fucking fetish. No. JustBigReds.com.
Oh, I'm on it, yeah.
I know. I was going to say, are you moderator yet?
No.
Yeah, Just Big Red. There's a big wheel channel for people who are into BW 200s and BW 350s. But yeah, JustBigReds.com. Fucking hilarious, man. But so...
If your bike exists and they made more than one of it, there's a forum for it.
And it's a Honda, so you actually can still find parts for it.
Yeah.
And
I can hear these guys' kids and grandchildren crying. What?
Oh,
you sold it for $500?
Dude, this guy was so excited to talk to somebody. Like he's been living, like he's retired probably 15 years ago. Their farm is now, they take care of like 4 old horses and they make kettle corn.
Wow.
And so when he took me out to the barn, there's all this machinery that's been sitting there for years, like things that used to do farm stuff and everything. And he gave me the lowdown on everything. I got there at 10:30 this morning and I didn't leave till 2. It was like, it was 4 hours.
Beautiful day.
Oh,
Did you have
great.
a good time?
Oh, I love this.
Is yours a 1984?
84.
So in 1983, the model was basically the same as the 1982, except for some different decals. One notable addition was a 12-volt, 5-watt auxiliary power port that was added.
Yep, I got it. It's at the front, and everything's there, and it actually has little things I can plug in, so I could literally put a USB charger on a 1984 fucking three-wheeler.
I don't think
man.
that's what they had in mind.
No, they probably had an additional spotlight for like spotting deer or something, right?
Or your fence post when
or your
they're
fence
down
post,
or something.
exactly. In 1984, it got the reverse gear.
Yep, it's reversible.
Wait a second. It not only will it kill you going forwards, it'll run you over once you're laying on the ground.
Cinch got the.
Didn't we just recently have a person on this? What was the gentleman's name from
Toledo?
Toledo, yeah, absolutely.
Who spent months in the hospital in a coma.
Because of an ATC.
And that's what made you run out and go buy one?
I definitely did.
He was just sitting here
But
going,
check this out. The low
Yep.
gear, when you put it, so it has 5 high, 5 low.
Right.
Low 1 should be able to pull an elephant.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah,
through anything.
Yeah, it has what the CT110 didn't have, which is traction.
Have you wheeled it yet?
Weight and traction.
No, I haven't.
It hasn't even gotten into his
You
world
even
yet.
really had a chance to ride it?
No, I brought it
my
home.
God.
I drove it into the garage. There were some dog turds, so I did 2-wheel motion over the dog turds, and I was able to put it in the garage. Put a battery tender on it, and so that's the other thing. So the dude, like, in preparation for selling this, put a brand new uni air filter in it and a brand new battery. And like made sure the tires were like, he went through the whole thing and was like,
nice.
I'm sure there's going to be some things that you want to do, but I'm like, dude, I'm giving you $500.
$500?
Yeah, $500.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Holy shit.
He was like, I hope you don't. He's like, he goes, I don't want to be mean or anything, but I'm really not open to negotiations. I'm like, I don't want to negotiate.
No, I don't want to negotiate, dude.
Do you want an extra $50? Like,
Did you get invited to Thanksgiving dinner next
no,
year?
not yet. No, I
I
didn't.
want to call this dude and have him on the pod.
Yeah, did you give him a little like extra $5 for the church, the plate at church?
The best part. Did I tell you guys the best part?
Yeah.
His name was Elmer.
Get the fuck out of here.
Swear to God.
Elmer?
And the popcorn,
Elmer?
the popcorn that they make is Mon Pa's kettle corn. And it's in
course it is.
Swanson, Ohio.
Oh, Swanson.
Yeah, Swanson, Ohio.
So what I gave these guys for homework was we're getting into a new year, so I thought there's all these events coming up, motorcycle shows. John and I are going to the one show. We got all this crap happening. We got a motorcycle show here in a couple of weeks. I mean, in the IX Center in Cleveland in less than 2 weeks, we're going to be surrounded by fucking motorcycles. So let's talk for a brief moment about, okay, new year, what are we looking at? What are you on the hunt for? What's the fucking unicorn you're going to put in your garage or try to put in your garage this year? Put it out here for the rest of the world to know about so the universe can hear you. And see, we always joke, we go to Mid-Ohio, there's every kind of fucking bike in the world at Mid-Ohio. But usually I have to limit myself to just say, okay, this year I'm only looking for whatever, Cub EZs or whatever the fuck I'm going to look at, some weirdo bike. Like I'm only going to look at GB500. Otherwise, you'd be tempted to come home with 15 bikes. So, Chris, do you have a bike that is on your list this year?
New or used?
Does not fucking matter.
Well, I do, but it's used. So I'm looking at Kawasaki Versus 1700, like a 2013, 2012, and I don't want to pay more than $6,500 for it.
Now, are you you say Versus or
no?
Vaquero?
Excuse me, Vaquero.
Vaquero, right,
Excuse me.
yeah,
Excuse me,
yeah. That's
And the reason is that I need a bike where I can roll out to Coal Ridge, Nebraska.
Yeah,
and just hang on the highway.
Nebraska.
So yeah,
Coal Ridge, Nebraska.
That's where
Dave Denninger lives.
Really?
Yeah, the Coal Dog. That's where he lives, and so it's a 1700.
Well, Runzas.
How's that?
You have to go to Runzas if you're going out to Nebraska.
Runzas.
Yeah, I will. I will.
It's a German ground beef, cabbage. Like it's a kibbe. I don't know. I'm Lebanese, so it's like a kibbe.
Kibbe.
Like kibbe. It's like a stuffed meat.
Yeah.
log.
Right. It's a roll. It's a meat roll.
Yeah, but only in Nebraska do they have a place called Runza.
Oh, really?
And it's German, and they used to make it for the. Look it up. Put it on the internet.
I will put it on the internet. So this is the bike. This is the bike that Chris is hunting for.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it's for me it's got a backrest.
Yeah.
And it's got cruise control.
What is with those giant honking air intakes to the left and right of the headlight?
You know what? Those are lights. Those are running lights.
Oh, those are running lights. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And,
all right.
And they've got louvers in them, so you can take the louvers out so you
can pop lights in there.
Yeah.
So if you don't spend the extra money, they come with nothing. But if you spend a little extra money, they come with lights in there.
Yeah, so it's...
I mean, this is a big bike. It's cruise control.
It's cool that it actually looks like it would be a handsome bike underneath all the fairings, too.
It does look like there's a regular, good-looking motorcycle underneath the plastic. So the
And
plastic's not just the winner there. There's stuff, too.
Yeah, it's belt drive.
Belt drive, excellent.
It's 856 pounds, which kind of concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty little guy, and I don't know that I can lift a bike.
You're a little guy.
I'm a little guy.
What I've usually
Vulcan
found
out there.
Well,
Vulcan's beautiful.
Yeah, what I've usually found with bikes this size is just like the police bike. So if you look at my Harley police bike, and I've done a lot of riding around in that, it's over 800 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's 800 and change. And the biggest deal with these is you just don't ever want to be going zero. Mm-hmm. If you're going zero, it gets heavy super fast. Or if you're going -1 or -2 or -3, they get really, really heavy. Does this have any sort of a reverse?
Does not.
Yeah, that's
so 6-speed.
Yeah, 6-speed's fantastic, and it's got an 18-wheeler motor in there. It's probably never going to go over 3,200 RPM ever. So yeah, that's a beast of a motorcycle.
It's got a 14-gallon tank on it.
What was
you might be exaggerating.
What was the years? How many years did they build this one? Do you know?
All of them.
All of them. So I was just going to say, if you're looking back in the world, like, can you find a 2011?
I think you can.
Wow, that really opens up your game, because in situations like this, especially with Kawasaki, you'll find that they don't change the bikes a hell of a fucking lot. So buying a 2021 versus buying a 2011 is 10 years difference of depreciation in the money, but 0 difference in the technology. And so with a lot of, they did make it in 2011, didn't they? Yep, sure as shit. So it's totally possible to go out and buy a damn near 10-year-old Vaquero, which depreciation being what depreciation is, you should be able to buy that bike pretty cheap.
Is that $500? I've got a lot of appreciation for
depreciation. Me too.
Yeah.
I have a huge appreciation for depreciation. Yeah. Oh, fuck you. God damn it. Come on. Get away from me.
Is Pajero Mexican for vagina?
Pajero?
No. What's that bike called?
Vaquero. Isn't there a guy who rides horses?
Let me see. Spanish for broken hip.
Oh, very nice.
Vaquero. I thought it was some sort of a cowboy.
Where's Oscar when we need him?
I know, right? Exactly, right. No, well, is it the word for Spanish? I'm sorry, it's the word for saddle.
They're doing all these close-up shots on this bike, but it's all scratched up.
Well, that's just the nature of...
it gets laid down before you buy it.
I guess and you know what? Black.
So they pre-scratch it for you.
If you're going to show off a bike, don't show off a black bike.
I don't think those are scratches. I think those are just swirl marks.
Yeah, probably.
Handled and washed and cleaned. And
yeah, but that's just bad shit. It's a sort of a cowboy, is a Vaquero. Vaquero's some sort of
like
a cowboy.
Like a gaucho?
Yeah,
Who is the gaucho amigo?
So yeah, that's it. So that's a Vaquero. That's what you're on the hunt for. And it does look like it's going to be easy because they made them for a long time, and they didn't change them a fuck lot.
Yeah.
Kromke, what you looking for?
You know, I've had this crazy idea. I had this epiphany early last year that electric motorcycles require no maintenance.
None.
They're so simple. And then I rode the SRF, and I've got to have an electric bike. It's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Do you know a dealer?
No. Can you tell me who sells them?
He's looking online. I heard it's cheaper.
I heard they're cheaper online.
You looking for a live wire?
Just buy them direct.
I actually think I kind of bought this 64 Triumph museum piece, and it was a mistake. I don't need to own something that belongs in a museum. Once I sell that, I'm going to own Probably a zero electric motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm digging it. I certainly do love them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made the investment I made to put them in the building. So, yeah. I mean, I've never had anybody we've sold one to ever be like, this just isn't delivering. So the people who buy them, who kind of know what they're all about, they get it. They're digging it. So I'm a fan, man. Which one? You think SRF or?
I was just checking out the S, which I hadn't been able to sit on previously. I like that. The DSR probably fits me even better.
You're a taller guy, so I think that an SRF or a DSR is going to fit you the best. I do. I think that those two bikes, and with Zero is one of those things that if you are seriously thinking about getting one, it's never a bad idea to maybe hang around till September, maybe. Just saying that could be a $1,500 suggestion. Just saying.
You happen to know people?
There's just a thing, friends. For friends, I would let them know if you wanted to save $1,500. You wait till maybe September. That's it. Don't buy one in May. Is the kind of the game. So, John, you're looking at.
Well, I definitely want to get
leader bikes.
I want to get mostly. I want to get on an inline 4-cylinder.
Okay, yeah.
With a kind of a nice sounding 4-into-1 header. I need that to happen in my life.
And knowing you, it'll be a Honda.
Yeah. Well, I already have 3 of them.
I was going to say the CB1.
So I just need to get them going.
The CB1000.
But the bike that I don't have that I really would like to ride, but I've got a buddy who owns one, but he's an asshole, and he never fucking brings it around.
Africa Twin?
Yeah, an Africa Twin. I'd love to ride an Africa Twin. You know anybody who's got one, Steve?
If we only knew somebody who owned an Africa Twin who could let you take a ride on the Africa Twin.
I fall in love with this bike. I'm hoping you get tired of it, you give it to Phil, and then I can finance it through Phil.
You can finance it through my shop.
That's how that's going to work. You just don't know it yet.
That's pretty much my only long-distance bike now.
It is. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
1150 and that Africa Twin. Those are my only 2 long distance.
PC 800.
Yeah.
I don't think that any long distance.
I mean, last summer was
on it.
Last summer was.
I mean, the center stand doesn't even go.
The bottom of yours, the bottom of yours is pretty heavily corroded. I was going to say the rest of the bike is plastic. So
I mean, I've been riding in the winter for many years. So.
Don't stack your cups up. If you stack your cups up, if there's anything left in any of the bottom cups, you're going to wear it. Yeah, it does. It escapes. So you should ride the Africa Twin for sure.
Yeah,
I mean that bike is. At first when they came out, I didn't realize how much horsepower.
Yeah,
I didn't. It's like 90 horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that they really. I thought it was good. I was 95. Kind of because somebody had said they were. Maybe before they actually came out, they were like, "Oh, they're not going to have much horsepower or something."
No, they're good. I mean,
no, there's plenty of balls there, man. Yeah.
I don't get excited about adventure touring bikes, but like the Africa Twin and the what's the Moto Guzzi?
The 850?
The 850?
Yeah, the 850 TT is gorgeous.
Who was it that had one?
Our friend Dave Nolan.
Yeah, Dave's
our friend Dave Nolan. He's got the Ronald McDonald color scheme.
And it had the metallic yellow that just glitters.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Sun.
That's a beautiful bike.
But there's somebody in Cuyahoga Falls with an Africa Twin that they rode it pretty deep into the season. I think that was the last motorcycle I saw on the street.
Oh, really?
In 2019. And I was like... It was the first adventure touring bike I really looked at that I didn't feel intimidated by looking at it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a man of normal height. I have long legs, but I still don't. I started out on Harleys, so
low feels
I'm used to
better
having a
to
low center of gravity. I'm used to sitting in or on the bike or in the bike, not on the bike.
The Africa Twin and the Super Tenere. There's a bunch of other bikes that they nailed it with that sort of moderate height seat. So the rest of the bike, I don't know how the fuck they do this. But the rest of the bike is all like, check me out. You and Charlie are going to go riding across Africa or some shit. But then you sit on it, you're like, well, my feet still touch the ground. That's interesting. Because you can't get that performance out of a DR650 or a KLR 650 or that Husqvarna that I got from you. Like that thing, I come to a light on the Husqvarna and my foot is barely on the ground. That is a very tall motorcycle. And yet you get on an Africa Twin and your foot's on the ground and you're comfortable. So
what was that Moto Guzzi, like 2013?
Oh, you mean the Stelvio?
The tall one?
The tall one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Stelvio should have come with a fucking boarding ladder.
Because didn't Luke buy
that? Luke didn't.
I thought Luke was going to get that.
He wanted one real bad, and I think if one comes around for the right price, he'll buy it.
because I rode that. And
Yeah.
that's
I
a
rode it
blast.
too, and I loved it.
I think that bike is genius.
Well, that bike was huge until they had the roller rocker problem, and they had to redo all of them, and it scared everybody away from the bikes.
It totally. You're right. And the funny thing is that
Covered
is
under
going to
warranty at your local shop, though.
well, and it's going to haunt everybody for ages. The number of people who are actually affected by it is minimal, but the upgrade, which converting it to a roller rocker, makes it into a totally better powertrain. Or just buy one that's later than 2014 and not have to fucking worry about it.
But it
the
killed
roller
it.
rockers
It
are already
killed that bike.
It killed the value.
It's the whole internet thing where if it happens to 1% of bikes, it's bad. If it happens to 3% of bikes, it's unacceptable. But still, statistically, it's not going to happen to you.
No, it's like the Pinto phenomenon. You know, it's like the whole idea is like, oh, Pintos blow up, right? And if you take a look at a Stelvio, the Stelvios are gorgeous bikes.
No,
I mean, they really are.
They're really cool looking bikes.
It's the kind of a bike that, with the 8-valve motor, this thing was putting out over 100 horsepower, 100 torque and change.
A lot of guts. Yeah.
Just guts like crazy. And the funny thing was, if you want that commanding view of traffic, if you want to sit up tall, I know guys that have put full knobbies on it. Kind of feels like a waste. The Norge, or Norge, depending on where you're from, is the official Italian police bike. So if you're looking at a Norge, it's basically the same everything, right? It's in a sport touring bike instead of an adventure touring bike. And when you get into the Norge, that thing is the same motor, it's the same drivetrain, it's everything exactly the same as the Stelvio. The difference is the Norge is an actual sport touring, aka, just call it what it is, it's a fucking police bike. It's a European police bike. The Stelvio, on the other hand, is, 1,200 cc's, and it has no refinement whatsoever. There's nothing fly-by-wire. There's nothing that's, it's a BMW.
That green one, too.
Yeah, the military green one is really good-looking bike.
Next one over.
Yeah, it's that color. Yep. So that's that flat green. Yeah, they're just beautiful
had
bikes.
one of those.
Oh yeah. We did, and I thought we did very well with the the Stelvios. We always did great with them. And again, Gucci's are bikes that have tons of character. But they are blemished by that goddamn flat tappet. So those motors that have the diamond-like coating on the flat tappets, they had a problem. It wasn't Gucci's fault. It was the supplier that got the parts for them. And that supplier that provided them with these tappets that were supposed to last forever because they had a diamond-like coating on them, and then the diamond-like coating just flaked off. Well, Gucci didn't make that part. They bought that part. And the person they bought it from said that they would hold up for hundreds of thousands of miles. Clearly they didn't. That led to a massive, massive fucking, it's not a recall, it's a, upgrade. Voluntary replacement, exactly. And it doesn't affect everybody, but when you get into a Stelvio with some knobbies on it there, that's Ewan McGregor's personal bike right there, the gold-colored one. But that is... They're just really fun bikes. They're really cool.
He's kind of sponsored by Moto Guzzi, isn't he?
No, he's kind of a on his own. He just fucking loves Moto Guzzis.
Okay.
Wow. So there's no check involved with his relationship with Moto Guzzis. When I met him 20 fucking years ago at Laguna Seca, that dude loved Moto Guzzis then, and nobody was offering him a sandwich. Like nobody was trying to give him whatever. But he's always owned Moto Guzzis. That's just. Ewan McGregor likes Moto Guzzis. That's his bike of choice. Except for when Harley Davidson's paying him to ride one from Tierra del Fuego to LA.
I see a lot of famous people that are into Moto Guzzis.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a quote that Frank Sinatra had about Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and he said that if you want to be somebody, you buy a Ferrari, and if you are somebody, you buy a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And I think Ducati is definitely the Ferrari of Italian bikes, which means Moto Guzzi is.
We've always joked. We've always said, "Look, if you own a Moto Guzzi, you're already the most interesting man in the room. So, fuck it."
What if you own a Moto Guzzi jacket?
Right.
That is a really
You're the most important guy.
You're the smartest guy in the room because you don't have the motorcycle that represents the jacket
in the cloakroom.
But it was really sad to see the value of that bike, which is a really nice bike.
Oh,
when that announcement was made,
yeah.
They all lost like $4,000 in a week.
Oh, the best thing I can tell you to buy is a Moto Guzzi like a Grizzo or a Nordier. or a Stelvio 8-valve bike. You buy one that's like after 14. You can look the numbers up and see whether or not you've got the bike that has, quote, the problem. If you have the bike that has the problem, don't be like, oh, I'm just going to buy this one cheap and fix it. That which the factory hath assembled, let no man disassemble. Take that to heart. If you think, I know how to build a motor, I can watch a YouTube video. No. Modern motorcycle engines are really, really specialized pieces of equipment. They're factory built by robots or by people who are like robots. If you think you're going to take this thing apart, replace the entire top end assembly of this thing, and get it all back together again, and it's going to be perfect and not leak, you're fucking wrong. You're just wrong, because the factory motor, every part of that motor goes through all the heat cycles together. Like, it ages together. The bottom end and the top end are the same fucking age. The cylinders are the same age. Everything, all the gaskets and seals, they don't leak because they've been together forever. You take that apart, you put it back together. I don't care if you have a snap-on fucking digital torque wrench. 10 heat cycles later, that thing's going to be leaking from somewhere. And on a lot of these bikes, if you want to tighten that down again, the motor's got to come out of the bitch again, right? So be aware. It may be over your head to try to do that repair on your own at home. We've seen dealerships that don't do it right. So that's a tough one. But if you buy a bike that doesn't have the DLC problem, if you buy a bike that has roller rockers from the factory, the value of it is just as low as a bike that has fucking flat tappets. So you're going to get a lot of fucking motorcycle for your money, which is pretty badass. So I dig that. That's cool. All right, next.
That'll be me.
That's you, dude. What you going to buy this year? Or what you going to think about buying this year?
I want a blue monkey.
Yeah, you were the first person I saw when they came to color.
It's stupid, but I just want a blue monkey.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
You need a blue metallic helmet, like half helmet like that to go.
You could. Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
I'd like to get a new Zero, but I guess mine's okay.
Yours is fine.
Okay.
But what would make your Zero better?
I'd like to have the bigger battery.
Really? Yeah? I mean,
not that it matters.
I'm not saying I wouldn't sell you one. I'm just
No, I'm just saying. I would like to have the bigger battery, but
yeah.
But is it really necessary?
What do you have?
That's the question.
I have FX with a 6.5.
Yeah, and they're up to 7.2 now.
What's your range with the 6.5?
I can get 100 out of it.
And that's the hilarious part is he wants to go with the 7.2,
right?
But he might have the highest recorded miles ever on a 6.5. Like nobody ever gets 100 miles.
Pictures of those, right?
out of 7.2.
Yeah, I had over 100 miles.
Nobody's ever gotten that.
Well, he wants more,
even on a 7.2.
Yeah, but I just like having the reserve. I always like having in case.
You're getting 7.2 range out of a 6.5 battery, and that's pretty fucking rad. So that's cool.
But the Blue Monkey, that's the absolute first bike I ever started on.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right,
so you absolutely need to get one.
No, I don't need to get one. I have a red one, and it's just perfect.
What about a yellow one? You need to get a yellow one, too.
No, yellow's disgusting.
No, that one doesn't have ABS.
Oh, does it? Is that the deal now?
I thought so.
Yeah.
Just a big long pause and a smile. Well, I am, but
no, but I think a blue and a red. The blues. Do the blues have anti-locks, or
I don't know.
The reds have anti-locks?
I thought it was the reds had anti-lock brakes and the yellows did.
I think the blues do not have anti-lock.
Oh, really?
Brakes, right?
They got drum brakes.
I don't really care. I'm fucked up right now.
they got brakes.
You don't have to work tomorrow, right?
No, I do have to work tomorrow.
What? Things are gonna go to shit over there.
Then I got a brew beer, and then have to fucking go to bed.
What the fuck? Cameron, what are you going to buy this year? What are you threatening to buy this year?
I really want a Softail because I want something bigger than the Vespa for Beth to ride on the back of.
Oh, okay.
Really
all
comfy on the
right.
Softail. I really like that Electric Glide that you have. The kind of ugly headlight Electric
I'm sorry,
Glide.
do you mean that 1989 Electric Glide? The FLHS?
Yeah,
the red,
one?
the burgundy one?
Yeah.
AKA Ruby?
Yes.
Just sold it.
Oh, well, never mind.
Just sold it for $5,000.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I guess I didn't want that bike then.
Well, and to a guy that could not be fucking happier.
That's awesome.
He came into my shop to buy a helmet.
Talk about upselling.
And he left with a motorcycle.
Wow.
Yeah, he bought it. So him and his wife came in. He's a semi-retired North Royalton police officer.
All right.
And he came in.
I know that guy.
Dude, the dude's, yeah, exactly. He rides a KZ1000. So he's got a KZ1000. He came in. He's like, I got this KZ1000. I bought it new in 1981. And yeah. And so he said, if it's possible, I saw that bike. I loved it. Can I come out and take it for a test ride? You know, we've had some really nice days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
So a couple of days ago, I took it out. I put 30 PSI air in the front forks via the nipple on the end of the handlebars. And then I put 40 PSI air in the back forks via the nipple on the sides of the side cover. Because the dude weighs about 310.
Okay.
And I took it out and partied with it. I rode the bike around the neighborhood, had a good time. And I was like, this bike is ready for a new owner. And he came in, tried to trade me his 81 KZ1000.
But that was kind of hard for you to turn down a little bit.
You are kind of KZ-less at the moment, aren't you?
Right, exactly.
You have to fill a void.
Fuck that.
Here's the thing. I know you don't consciously want a KZ.
No.
But
no, not at all.
Part of you wants a KZ.
No part of me wants a KZ.
He doesn't consciously or
the part of me that wants a 73-year-old barnacle hanging off the tip of my dick. Yeah. No thanks, man.
How do you get a barnacle that's older than you hanging off the tip of your dick?
Have a KZ in your showroom.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's exactly.
Because I
how you get
remember,
there,
I remember a certain Toyota van driving person at Mid Ohio this year talking about how cool it would be to get a final year KZ1000 police bike with fuel injection.
That is the only one I would be interested in. Would be a KZ1000P with EFI.
What Toyota fans?
Don't fuck on Toyota vans.
No, he has my Toyota van now.
Oh, you bought it?
He bought it.
Awesome.
Well, you have to bring it to Mid Ohio and drive us around, though. That's the.
I wasn't
fucking
shitting
deal,
on it.
right?
I was just
no, because I got
without saying his
I bought
name.
a replacement.
Oh, okay.
Don't call it a Previa.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would really like to get a Softail, and I know that I cannot afford a Milwaukee 8 Softail.
Dude.
And so if you look at it,
get an Evo.
Old Evo Softails are Evo Softails,
Get an
more or
Evo.
less.
Just get an Evo. There's no difference in all between any of them. Don't get a twin cam 88 because you know you got to put work into it.
I saw a beautiful. Well, I saw a really nice looking 92.
That's a twin cam. Yeah.
So it's a twin cam, but it was like an $1,800 bike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm not opposed to. I mean, Harley Davidsons they're Harley Davidsons.
Right.
I can work on a Harley
Oh,
Davidson.
yeah, you can.
I can work on any bike more or less, but
Even Cam can work on
even Cam can work on a Harley
There you go.
Davidson.
But a twin cam 88 is a kind of a bitch to fuck around with, just because the cost of fixing it is pretty heavy. And we were just talking about the Moto Guzzi. The cost of fixing one that's bad is pretty heavy. The cost of fixing a twin cam 88 that's bad is pretty heavy. So, you know, if you're going to avoid that, that's cool. But
So I would want to get a little
so you get a little
older
Softail,
than-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on, man.
I'm not saying I'm necessarily.
an FLSTI in your future. Do you know why? Because despite that ugly 21-inch front wheel, that pizza cutter front wheel, you could take that off and you could put any fucking front wheel you want on it.
That's true.
And that fixes all the problems with that motorcycle. An FLSTI is a magical motorcycle.
I thought you were
It's fuel
talking about a
injected.
Subaru.
You get an FLSTI with anything less than 25,000 miles on it. You're going to run it for a while. If the twin cam problem shows up, you can deal with it. But you can buy them for about $4,000 or less, and they're beautiful. And then if you don't like that 21-inch pizza cutter front wheel, which I don't, because they handle weird, you can put any front end on it. You can put any wheel and tire configuration on it. So
It's really funny because Beth and I are at total opposites as far as how we like Softails done up.
Right.
And it's not what you would expect.
She wants a Heritage Springer.
No. Beth is the one that likes
That's what I expect.
She likes the Fat Boy and the Softail
Oh, really?
Slim and
Yeah.
the black minimal chrome.
Sure, blacked out.
Blacked out.
Yeah.
Matte finish paint.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, that two-tone purple and lighter purple with the white wall. I stopped just short of tassels, but I mean just short of tassels. For some reason, there was a two-tone purple the year I started riding. There was a two-tone purple Softail Deluxe in the showroom, and it looked so good under those fluorescent lights.
At the auctions, I see a lot of Softails that are specifically done for the lady of the house.
Yeah, that she put 1,000 miles on.
That
because
have
the guy
that
is
have
way more into it than she is.
$5,000 worth of epic pinstriping. It's like orchids and vulvas and labias and shit. Like,
Labias?
Labias. Oh, dude. Some of this pinstripe work, people have paid for custom pinstripe work, and you're like, wow, that's really amazing. Is that a floral pattern? Yeah,
Like
it's my wife's vagina.
Yeah, like Johnny Crow's PC800.
Yes, the
It was like- it was a
PC800.
twat right in the back of his
His
bike.
fucking pinstriping looked exactly like a twat.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
because
purely
my
a
friend
cunt.
James
There's no
ended
other-
up with that bike,
Yeah.
who, by the way, was the same James that bought my RX-50. Or he traded my RX-50 to him, that we met at Mid-Ohio this year.
You mean the 50cc Vulcan?
Yes.
Yeah, the Vulcan 50.
So I'm not saying that, like,
Two-stroke. Yeah.
we know
Right.
probably better than anybody that women ride bikes, and I think everybody here can confidently say there are women that outride us, but there are a disproportionate number of Harley people that will buy a Harley Davidson for their wife because they like the idea of their wife riding.
It always goes the
and
same
their
way.
wife
It always
isn't
goes the same way. Yep.
necessarily
That's exactly
into
right.
riding
Yeah.
on
It
her
does.
own as much. So there are a ton, like you said, there are a ton of those bikes heavily customized, or bikes that are like really pretty two-tone paint and really done up, and they have no miles on them.
Oh, it's just one of those things. It's like it always, when I go to the auction, those are always the bikes that are like no miles and don't go for any money. There's just like no cash involved.
Because you
with those
can't
at all.
repaint a gas tank and a fender.
No, and it's just like, okay, so you painted the entire thing. The entire motorcycle is painted in the theme of like, it doesn't matter. Like
Flowers and orchids.
Yeah, flowers and orchids and shit like that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So paint the fucking thing, man. I mean, it got painted to get that way. So what the hell?
Go to the
orchids.
So speaking of stuff like that you do like for the woman in your life,
Yeah.
Beth is excited about the Corvette because it's an
Yeah.
automatic. And
The horn.
I was thinking of when we put the really beefy engine in it for Corvette Forum that we leave it stock looking on the outside and get a license plate for it that's like vet for her,
Of course.
or Miss
Absolutely.
Vet. So that when you line up next to you line up next to a Hellcat, like an 8,000 pound, 700 horsepower Hellcat. They're like, oh, it's just some trophy wife and like a clapped out old Corvette.
Exactly.
And there's 500
like
of the
And then
wheels.
you smoke them in a C4, and then the guy
Smoke them in a C4 that belongs to a girl, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
And then the 43-year-old asshole comes along with Tesla and smokes all you guys.
So a friend of mine pointed this out about Teslas and Prius drivers,
Yes.
mostly Tesla guys.
Yeah.
How come every
Tesla.
Tesla owner is a 45-year-old guy that dresses like Indiana Jones on a daily basis?
Because those are the guys. So it turns out if you have a leather fedora and a bullwhip, you probably have an ass load of money.
It's true.
And nobody to spend it on.
That's true.
I figured out
I have neither of that.
I figured out earlier this week that the ultimate flex as far as money goes is a Land Rover. Because a Land Rover says, not only can I afford to own this, I'm high enough on the totem pole at work that it doesn't matter if I get there or when I show up.
Oh, that's also true.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I can also afford to fix it.
I was going to say that's the other part of it is like, I can also afford the maintenance
Being
bill.
able to afford to not be punctual because your vehicle broke down is, I think, the ultimate flex.
I used to have a friend that owned a Land Rover fixing place.
Oh, really?
And so I went up to him, and he was over in Bedford Heights, and there was like 15 Land Rovers sitting there. And he's like, "Observe the Land Rover in its natural habitat."
Oh yeah.
When I was in New York, I was crossing over the Brooklyn Bridge, and I was behind a Land Rover that had a Land Rover Manhattan spare tire cover on it, and it was two guys in like a Series 1 with binoculars looking at a giraffe, and I'm like, I've been in New York for 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't seen a single goddamn giraffe. You really got to watch out for those city giraffes.
You need to go to the Bronx Zoo.
My parents
They're
warned
selling
me
the
about.
experience you're hoping to have in your Land Rover, even though you're in Brooklyn.
Yeah, like my parents warned me about muggers. They warned me about like people trying to pull street hustles. My parents never warned me about city giraffes in Brooklyn.
City giraffes.
All right, Nick, what do you want? What bike?
What you looking for this year?
I am not looking to buy anything this year because I do not have the space, time, or money for even the bikes that I do have.
How does that sound any of us?
Yeah, that's.
But
All that being said,
if a Honda Passport or a Suzuki SP something
You won't get a passport.
falls into my lap for not a lot of money,
You won't get a passport because I'll buy it up before work.
I know. But if it did,
But
I'd be interested.
What you're saying is, if it should happen to happen.
No, honestly, those are the only two bikes I'd really be interested in buying this year.
There's a Honda Passport with a sidecar on Adventure Rider right now for $2,300.
That's too much.
With a sidecar?
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
I don't want the sidecar, and that's too much.
That's like
I want a trike. I want a Passport.
Oh boy,
trike.
Passport trike. We saw that one at that Mid Ohio
black and white one.
Yeah, that guy made it into a fairly convincing old person's trike, and
he needs a service vehicle.
He doesn't need a Servicar. Yeah, he needs a Servicar.
I'm not that old.
I would.
No, the Servicar. Like that.
I'm not that grumpy.
You
I'm
need to
not
turn
that
your
old.
Ural into a Servicar.
I thought you meant like a real Harley Servicar.
No, I'm saying a real Harley Servicar.
Those are super cool because those were still like the WL based flatheads
WL 750
until 1973.
Oh yeah, they never ever stopped being a WL.
You got a disc brake. The last year they made them, you got a disc brake.
Oh really?
In the front.
I didn't
like
that.
disc brakes. I like
Crap.
brakes.
Because
of course
they don't
you do.
drag.
So okay, then you buy any one of the other fucking 30 years of Servicars they made.
Steve, what do you want to buy?
Steve, what you gonna buy?
So
no, I get you. I'm not sitting out like in
I don't have a lot of money right now, and I just spent my last $500 on the 3-wheeler that I'm going to use 3 times a year. But
you live in the city. You literally live in the city, and you bought a quad with a trailer or a trike with a trailer.
So we can go on safari for all those city drafts.
No, I was
the good news is he will be the slowest guy riding a trike in Cleveland Heights.
Right. But I'll also
There's
be the
plenty of
fastest
trikes
guy in the mud at Mid Ohio.
Yes, you will.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you will.
But so I was looking at my Super Tenere and I love it.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there, but I'm like, you know what?
It's a magic bike.
I can't get to all the places I want to go with it, and so I don't want to get rid of it. But at the same time, the FJ09, which is basically the street version of the Super Tenere, but a 900, has been kind of tickling my nuts. So I was like kind of looking at them, like there's guys selling them for about the same price as my bike, and it's like I can't.
The FJ09?
Yeah, it's the road version of the Super Tenere. I mean, basically, it's.
I was looking up an FZ09.
No,
they're
not
different.
FZ.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, FJ09.
Okay.
So it's just more street oriented, which is like obviously like more what we have around here. There's not a lot of fucking mountains and fire roads just sitting here like waiting to be explored.
It's a 900cc triple.
Throw it up there.
Versys.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's supposed to be super comfortable. Yeah, super comfortable.
Yeah.
It has almost the same body shape and stuff as
it's a pretty
an S10.
bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dead sexy bike.
You can put the bags on it. You can do all the same stuff. So there's that. Yep. But then there's also the adventure side of me that's like if they actually bring the Tenere 700 in.
Right. The T7 is a big deal. Right?
That gives me a giant boner, although I'd never use it for what it's made for ever. So, I mean.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the two things that got
the
me
FJ09 is another one. They call it a tracer in other markets.
Right.
That's a beautiful bike. I mean, it is a dead sexy bike.
I mean, it's just a road version of the Super Tenere.
It's a Super Tenere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a slightly taller FZ09.
Yeah.
So,
Can I change my mind?
Yes, you may.
Multistrada 950.
Oh, cool. We have a Multistrada 1200 over here. You can go play around on and see if you like it.
I like the 950s.
Well, I mean, I just don't have a 950.
I like the little tiny.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I'll loan you a 1200 if you want to play around, but I'm not going to buy you a 950.
Oh,
We're friends and all.
Damn it.
You want a 64 to a 1972 Servicar because those had electric start.
As opposed to pull start with a rope.
How does that in any way compare to a Multistrada 950?
It doesn't, but if we had to pick two bikes, I picked a Softail. My second bike would be a 125cc pit bike.
Well, Sleepy got the bike of his childhood, right?
Yeah, no, so let me put it this way. I was so obsessed with 3-wheelers. My parents had a patio in the backyard with a stone like thing around it.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say it's like a 10th scale 3-wheeler.
Okay, yeah.
When I was 12, I might have been mentally retarded. I don't know. But
you grew out of
Might
it.
have been.
I walked back and forth pretending to ride this fucking little thing on the snow around the patio for hours, right? And it happened to be a Big Red. And then I've seen him and all this stuff, and so I was infatuated with this bike forever. And I used to love 3-wheelers. My first ever motorcycle in the history of me, when I was 14. My friend who owns, his parents owned Revell Wholesale. They sell tires and stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Now he does 4 tires, right?
All right.
He had a Trizinger 125 and he blew it up. And so he's like, just get it out of my garage and you can have it. So when I was 14, I begged my daddy, put it in the trunk of his fucking Pontiac Bonneville and brought it home, threw it in the garage, and I learned how to put a fucking cylinder on and get a fucking top end because it was a 2-stroke.
Nice.
And I made it run enough that I could just ride around my parents' house. So I don't even think I got out of second gear because it wasn't running right, but I rode that thing for like 12,000 hours around my parents' house.
Right, yeah.
So I always had a boner for old fucking three-wheelers. And, so yeah.
That's pretty solid. Yeah. I mean, I totally get that.
I didn't realize I had a boner for three-wheelers until you got probably the worst out of all the three-wheelers, Phil. You had that brand new uncrated Yamaha Tri-Motor.
That Tri-Mo...
it was the nicest example of the worst three-wheeler.
It was perfect, if you look at the photographs, that thing was literally factory fresh out of the crate. I don't know how the hell it survived till 2018.
I was the person who got to ride it.
Cam, you didn't get off of it. You wouldn't get off.
Yeah, I love that thing.
In Mid-Ohio, you refused to get off that fucking bike.
You sold it, and I had to buy a dumbass
What did you get for that?
I got a pile of money and a Suzuki RV 125.
It was a pretty nice RV,
green,
wasn't it?
yeah, green
and then
one,
you used the money to buy your Tenere.
Well, yeah,
I bought the Tenere.
The TDM 800.
The TDM 850.
850, sorry.
With the money from that, and then John Crome got the RV.
RV, okay.
Yeah, so it was a really interesting trade.
How did you find that in a crate?
This was a guy came into my shop and said, I'm going to die soon. I got some weird bikes in my house, and I said, well, define weird.
I'm your guy.
Define fucking weird. And he goes, well, I got a YT 175 Tri-Moto in the crate.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'm your guy, and the guy showed up at my shop, and I bought it off of him.
Why do you think it's the worst trike? That thing's awesome, dude.
No, it's cool.
No, it's totally deadly.
Compared to a
two-stroke.
No suspension.
No suspension at all.
Compared
totally
to a big red, it was very primitive compared to all the other three.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that thing would go up. That thing was, I don't care how fat you are, that thing was going to throw you on the ground instantly. The only way to turn right was to pick up the wrong wheel.
Lean over the handlebars.
Lean over the handlebars and pick up the wrong wheel, and that's how you turned it. Because if you tried to mechanically turn it, fixed rear end, fixed axle, not going to turn.
Wow.
So you had to pick up one of the back tires to make it turn.
You turn on deceleration.
Pretty much, yeah.
Go, give it some gas, go in a straight line. Right. When you let off the throttle, then turn it.
Well, any three-wheeler, you
Put
can't.
weight on the front.
You have to brake before you turn. If you try to brake while you're turning, you are broken. Yeah, right.
So since Steve's buying some of his childhood back, I decided I'm going to buy some of my childhood back.
Oh.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
You got a Transalp?
Didn't get one.
Oh, you're getting one.
Motherfucker, it's my unicorn.
Oh, yeah. I love a good Transalp.
That's a good unicorn.
There's one in Florida right now on Adventure Rider. Dude, it's mint, and nobody's buying it because it's in Florida.
All right.
It's the goldish brown.
Florida might be enough to make me stay away from a motorcycle too.
Okay.
But I want a Transalp. If Steve wasn't out having a whatever, he'd back me up on this. But
I think he might be vomiting.
No, he probably is. Yeah, maybe you should let him alone with that. But yeah, and for real, I want a Transalp. I've just decided. I've never owned one. My buddy Alex Tazzy had one. Mm-hmm. I've owned every other fucking Honda V-twin 3-valve.
What's that Honda Chopper engine Transalp 600?
What the fuck? You're right. That is a Honda Chopper engine Transalp 600.
So
that
tell
is
me
a
what
disaster.
the Transalp is powered by. Is that?
It's a 6 Hondo. It's a 600 V-twin.
Is it like a VT600?
It's a VT. Well, so the Transalp motor, Steve can help me on this one. The Transalp motor is the 3-valve, hydraulically adjusted valves.
Oh, it's a great motor.
Yeah, and it's
not
600.
Not much power, but
well, that's my bike I'm going to buy this year. I'm making it my business to buy a Transalp this year.
I love Transalps.
I'm going to get
find one with like under 50,000 miles.
Right, and so
you can.
You know, the trick with them is
hard to find.
They're from 1987 till 1991.
Why did they bring back that bike?
Well, and I think they did. They called it many different things. Because the weird thing is it's a V-twin. So it's a V-twin Perry Dakar bike.
Right, but it's narrow, and that's what I like about it. It's like you don't have
Wasn't there an NC 700?
NC 650, right? NTX 650 or
I always wanted an NX.
NX 650. Yeah. So there's been a lot of stabs at it.
I know.
I don't think
the NX 650 was a single cylinder.
That's a single cylinder.
I know
think
the modern
all
Africa
NXs
Twin
were
is
single
a parallel
cylinders.
twin.
It is.
Is the old Africa Twin also a parallel?
No, it's a
There's a
V-twin.
V-twin.
It's a V-twin.
Huh.
Exactly. And it's a chain drive V-twin. Like that motor, whether it's in a shadow or whether it's pumped up a little bit in the form of a PC800, that motor has always been a really interesting kind of motor for me. I
still think the 800 was the perfect displacement.
Yeah.
It had the most balance. It had everything to it.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Longevity,
Yeah.
durability. It didn't have that much power, but it feels like it's okay. I mean, it feels like it's got
torquey,
more
yeah.
than what it has.
I think we only got them in America from 89 to 91. As I think it's like a typical Honda,
Right.
just like the GB500, just like the Super Magna, just like the GT650 Hawk.
I'll buy it off you after you get your. That's a bike I'd like to get to.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
it's
like one of
probably,
those-
I mean, it's
those
probably
bikes I'd like to
uninspiring, 50 horsepower, whatever. It's just the same, though. To me, in 1989, I was in the military. I didn't have any extra money laying around, but I know that all the stuff that Honda was coming out with from 1987 or so on was, like, from the Interceptor forward, was all really super interesting to me. And the weird thing is, out of all of those Honda cult bikes, the bike I've never owned has been the Transalp.
I still want an NM4.
Oh, fuck, man. Yeah, that is a weird bike.
I mean, I don't know why.
But you're going to be able to get one of those for free in like a year.
I know, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's stupid because
Yeah.
the luggage is forward where the the water would just drive right into
It's
the
a
luggage
disaster
compartment. It's
from a
stupid.
design standpoint. An NM4. I had a customer call here not that long ago from San Francisco or somewhere, like Seattle or San Francisco, some West Coast thing. And this guy was 100% set on like, what's her name over at Sills Motorcycles? She had one over there. So there was an NM4 that somebody had traded in at Sills. And he'd contacted her, and they had it, and he was going to pay me money to go inspect it so that he could buy it and then ship it from Cleveland to wherever he was. And I said, well, that's great. I'm out of town right now. I won't be back in Cleveland until like Tuesday, like 4 days. And he says, don't care. When you get back into town on Tuesday or Wednesday, go look at this thing. I said, fine, I'll do that. So when I got into town on Tuesday night or whatever, I called Sills. And they were like, yeah, it's sold. It's gone. So this thing that's a nightmare. I mean, an NM4, what the fuck
That's
is an
the
NM4?
ugliest scooter I've ever seen.
It is,
Yeah,
yes.
but I mean, there's something about like I said, it's not practical. It's got the
It's the
luggage in
Akira
front,
bike.
you know,
Yeah,
so
Pam.
If you
Yeah, thank
if you look at anime, it's the Akira bike.
It is the Akira bike. If it was red, you'd swear up and down all day
It's
long.
Naruto running.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, there's something that I want. I mean, I want to get it because it's that.
I agree. Well, and you know what? I totally agree that in the sense of it is
That's
a
weird.
freak show. It's a weird bike, and it looks as commonsensical as like an F-117 stealth fighter.
It's got the
Like,
Vetter.
it shouldn't fly.
Has
it's
anybody
the
ridden?
recombinant Vetter setup, like the Vetter bikes that were.
Oh, yeah.
You sat down.
Oh, I have
in the
not
bike.
ridden
The-
one, and
the
by the way, which is
Supermiler bikes.
really
Yeah.
saying something considering I've ridden all the other.
I was gonna say, like, how
CTX
does it
freak
handle?
shows and everything
Maybe
else.
it handles great.
It might. It might be like a Gurney Gator. You know, it might be.
Everybody I've
Yeah.
ever talked to that owned one of those. I mean, I've seen like maybe 5 guys that own
Okay.
one of those.
Yeah.
Love them like they're babies.
Yeah, and that-
they're like puppies.
And that could very well be, but if you take a look at the actual Akira, the Voltus X, right? So that's a Honda NM4.
Yeah.
So there's a Honda NM4.
So it's implied in the movie,
No,
in,
no,
in the
it's-
manga and in the anime that the actual Akira bike is
No,
a BMW
that's more like
because
the
there's
real-
BMW roundels.
that's
on it. Yeah,
more the-
that's the actual. That's like a really good Akira.
Yeah,
replica
there's
bike.
dudes that
That's a
made them.
recumbent. That looks
Yeah, but I won't go as
recumbent.
far as to say those are BMW Rondels. I think that those are.
Well, no, they're supposed to be blue and white.
Excuse me.
They made them a different color in the
Right,
anime, so
right,
they didn't
because they didn't have to pay any
licensing.
royalties.
Yeah, but no, that's definitely a recumbent bike.
Oh yeah, if I'm looking at that picture, I'm looking at that and thinking that can only be a custom build because
it's got a good back race.
What is BSU?
But Honda made a recumbent bike.
That's just a fake BMW
prototype recumbent bike.
Sure,
it's really cool.
Yeah,
and they made an electric recumbent.
Yeah, but the plastic on this thing looks like it was stolen from a Cedar Point ride.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, all that shit belongs in the fucking front of the Kmart. You put a quarter in it. There's nothing about that thing that is like, oh, that's legit.
I like the slightly more subtle one behind it.
Well, there's like a huge article and a vlog of a guy that made an exact Akira replica, and it took him like 7 years. And
I think that might be the picture of what we were just looking at.
No, because it didn't look Mickey Mouse like that.
Oh, that thing was
it was actually a really good looking one.
Yeah. Like what's that one down there?
This one here?
Over there, the iconic bike. Is that it?
Same dude.
Same one.
Same dude.
One of them, you'll see it. It's way different.
But
way
you know what?
different.
The point being, I mean, all that stuff's all well and good. I appreciate the tribute to Akira. That's all great. But that's, I mean, it's not production. It's a custom one-off.
Right, that is.
That's cool. The NM4 is fucking built. Somebody built that motherfucker. Like Honda went, you know what? Let's just build it. And that has got to be, whoever did that is the most fired man in Honda history right now. Because say what you will.
It looks like that CTX 1300.
Yeah. Oh, no. There's a
whole line of bikes.
There's a whole line of bikes.
The whole line of bikes look like that.
Right.
And it's a shame because, they took the ST 1300, which was an awesome bike.
Yeah.
And they brought out the CTX 1300, which is it's like, it's not practical at all. There's no lowers. It's kind of like, it looks like,
there's not a single line on that motorcycle that needs to be there. Like, the entire NM4 motorcycle is an exercise in just, like, ridiculous application of plastic and angles. Because if it was a stealth fighter, you could say, okay, well, due to like radar technology, we have to scatter the image, etc. But this is purely just to it's just a dick waving contest. It's just Honda going like, look what we can do.
It's just looking weird for its own sake.
Because we did at the motorcycle show, we opened one of these side boxes up.
Morphous or what was that?
Well, the Morphous was another one. Yeah, the Morphous. We opened up a side case on an NM4 motorcycle show, and you couldn't fit a 6-inch sub in it.
Is there a watermelon in one of those pictures?
Yeah, a baby watermelon. A juvenile watermelon.
And it got crushed when they closed the side.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
Storage melon.
Yeah, that is not a child's extra small watermelon. That is a smaller than a child's extra small watermelon. But you know what? I want you to have an NM4. I really do. So I can borrow it twice. I'm going to do the same thing to your NM4 that I do to Chris's Vulcan 800 Drifter. I like knowing it exists. I like knowing they're there. So someday when I have to have a hot date with myself, I can be like, Chris, can I borrow your 800 Drifter?
That's a good question. What bike do you want to ride next year that you don't necessarily want to own?
Do you know what I don't want to ride next year? The FLHP. I rode the FLHP all goddamn year. You know what? The motorcycle qualifications, law enforcement qualifications are over. I'm done. I'm tired riding that fucking motorcycle. I know anytime you guys saw me riding that fucking bike last year, it looked like I was having some fun. I'm ready to not ride that motorcycle anymore.
You just did not have a loud enough stereo blasting fucking Journey. or like Chris Stapleton or some shit like that.
Speaking of, it's like if you work in like any sort of like retail setting or like any place where you have to listen to the radio, there's like a list of classic rock songs you never want to hear again. Right. Songs you love that you're like, if I never hear More Than a Feeling for the rest of my life, it would be too soon.
We had 96 FLH, RTP, ATP, ATP, LTP, whatever it was. But it was green. And we took it in on trade. And I popped let me get this right. I popped a Madness CD in it. Madness tape. It was a cassette drive. I popped a Madness cassette in it, and it fucking ate the tape.
Yeah, right? It was like, fuck this shit. I'm not playing this.
I took this out. I took the tape out, and I was like, oh, I've had that since 87. And I took it, and I tried to spool it back up very carefully with a pencil. And fuck. And I put in a Springsteen tape, and it played it perfectly. And I never took that Springsteen tape out ever again. I sold that bike with a Springsteen tape in it. Fuck it. If it works, it works. I'm not taking it out.
I was up at Western Reserve in Mentor one time, just like killing time. Went up to the dealership.
How is that place in business? There's never anybody buying anything at that place.
But I went in there and they had a.
Don't forget that story.
They had an old Evo touring bike in there.
Yeah.
And it had a cassette player in it, and I'm like, I bet there's some like boomer rock in here.
Yeah.
And I popped the cassette out, and it was 2 Live Crew, and I was like,
Right on.
I was wrong today.
Yeah.
Someone cool owned this bike.
The problem is that's just about boomer music now. License
Yeah.
to ill. I mean,
Honestly, licensed to ill? Yeah, I'm right there.
My nephew called me a boomer the other day, so I'm right there with you guys.
Boomer.
All right, so guys, we had some interesting correspondence at the shop. This is from Judge. Anytime you receive mail from a judge,
Look out.
Judge Marilyn Millian. I didn't know which district she was from. Turns out she's from the People's Court.
Aha!
That's right, Judge Wapner's
Wait,
dead
seriously?
and gone. I'm holding it in my hand. So, dear Waters, Philip.
Philip.
Waters, Philip, type 1 each. Disposable. The People's Court with Judge Marilyn Millian is interested in reviewing the case you filed against name omitted in the amount of $6,000. Wow. The benefits are you are guaranteed your money if you win your case. According to the courts, approximately 70% of plaintiffs who win in small claims courts never actually receive their money. You will be paid for your time, even if the judge rules against you. We will pay for all of your travel costs. We will save you time. Small claims schedules hundreds of cases per day. We only book a few, ensuring your case will be heard on the day you are scheduled to appear in our court. We do not have to use your company name or your last name.
But you will.
Probably. Please call me to discuss these benefits further at phone number omitted. Thank you for your time. I look forward to helping you with your case. Name omitted. So anybody who's close to Cleveland Moto will know that when we bought this building, our neighbor had allowed one of those little propellers that falls out of the tree. You know, those little seedling things that comes out of the tree. Maybe. He allowed one of those to land behind his garage, apparently like 70 years ago. And it has consequently moved his garage, which I don't give a fuck about his garage. His garage can be moved all at once, but it's moving my building too. So it's moved up the back corner of my building to the point where all the blocks in the wall don't line up anymore and the roof doesn't fit. Which is, you know, totally okay when it's his shitty-ass garage, but when it's my shop and the roof leaks and I get water standing in the back, that sucks. So I sued the guy in small claims court for the cost of repairing the wall and removing the tree.
Well, and by the way,
a
realtor called me.
Yeah.
And said, "Do you want to buy the building next to Cleveland Moto?" To me.
To you.
Out of the blue? Like
really?
You were just sitting at home and they called you?
Yeah.
And said, would you like to buy the residential /2 business properties that are next to Cleveland Moto?
Right.
We've noticed you had a lot of motorcycles in your garage, and your neighbors said you'd be better off.
I was going to say, did your neighbors recommend this realtor to you?
I'm totally serious. And it's like, where does that come from?
Random. Wow.
So
Man,
anyhow,
your realtor knows you well.
So, Steve, when do you move in?
Well, so in any case, apparently, as much as I love the idea of going to the People's Court and having my case tried in the court of public opinion by Judge Millian, however, they have to contact the defendant. So the defendant needs to be contacted, and he's a bit unfindable. But the trick is, she told me, well, not Judge Millian herself, her representative, told me that even if he loses, they pay. So
nice.
Yeah, so if he loses, which he will, it's his tree and it's pushing up my property.
Right.
And he won't show up, so he's going to lose.
Well, but that's the thing is if he doesn't show up, they're not going to run it because they need him to be there.
Well, we can send Steve over dressed as the guy.
Holy shit. That's a great idea.
Grumpy old sewer guy?
Wait a second. I love this idea.
I
What they're gonna do.
had a friend who was a local comedian here, and he moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he paid like his first years of rent in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He went on the People's Court 3 times with his friends with bullshit that they made up against
Get the
about
fuck
suing
out
each
of
other.
here. Well,
3 times.
I'm going to call her back and I'm going to say, I've got in touch with Mr. Name Withheld, and I'm going to say, here's his phone number. You can call him directly. Because she did nothing to vet me to find out if I was really who I said I was.
They're making a TV show.
Right, and they straight up said that Mr. Name Withheld will be paid. He'll be compensated. He'll be given a plane ticket to Connecticut and given hotel fare and be given airfare and paid for his time.
Yeah.
So he's going to lose nothing, and I'm going to get the money to fix my roof and remove the tree from people's court, and somebody's going to get some good television, especially if we got a ringer there. Holy shit.
I think we need to do the ringer.
That's a fucking great idea.
I'm not Hungarian, though.
It only sounds a little bit like fraud. Oh, don't worry. This guy's last name isn't Hungarian.
Oh.
Yeah, trust me.
His last name
you'll
is
be
Fraud.
fine. Kermit the Fraud. I thought that was funny.
It is funny.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I didn't give it with the correct delivery because Kermit the
It's definitely a
Fraud.
dad joke.
It is a very good dad joke. Anybody else got anything else?
I don't think so.
Hey Siri, play Cleveland Moto.
Bum, ba, da, 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 bum, ba.